What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV, and today we're going to talk about why I left the USA. Now, this is something that keeps getting brought up in the comment section. People are like, "Hey, why aren't you living in Arizona? Why did you leave?" I have a couple of YouTube channels, and people are always asking, like, "Hey, why are you living outside of America?" I thought it was kind of common knowledge at this point that there's possibly greener pastures on the other horizon, and I wanted to talk about that. So if you're one of those types of people who actually likes travel, but you're kind of on the fence, I'm going to give you some ideas to think about, but also tell you my story. By the way, I did just write a book. It's called Diary of a Three-Star Gypsy. You can go to the description of this channel and you can purchase it right now. It is actually on ebook. It's like $8.99. It's about 180 pages or something like that. I don't know how many there is exactly for the ebook, but let's talk about this. So if you're someone who thought about escaping the routine, getting out of the rat race, people always say the matrix. I'm not trying to be cliche, but that's what you all call it, and leaving the US behind, this video is for you. So if you're someone who wants to try full-time travel, I'll just tell you my current situation and how I got here to where I basically travel the world with a backpack and a suitcase. I did actually pick this up. I pick up one of these. This is like a third bag. So like today, now that I'm in Singapore, I was just in Bangkok, but I'm now in Singapore. I went and got some lemons. I got some honey. I got some ginger tea, and I get some teas, and then I just kind of cruise around with that. I get some vitamins in there, and I carry that on the side. But basically, just a backpack and a suitcase. When I get to the city, I go shopping, and I just pick up one of these bags, and I cruise around with this wherever I go, whenever I move. But that's basically all I have. Inside those bags, I have my clothes. I have shirts for mostly beaches and walking around warm cities, mostly warm climates. I don't have much winter clothes. I tend to avoid the winter places, colder environments. That's one of the beauties of traveling full time is you can actually go wherever you want to go, really, as long as you have a visa or a passport. Thank you to everyone who's already smashing up the likes. And then someone's already commenting, "Hey, how did you have money though? Yo, mate. Hello, mate. Hello. How's it going?" Well, I can talk about that. Actually, I do have a new channel, and because that question came about, I've decided to give people more insight into how I acquired money, and that's on my new channel, Economic News Insights. I pin that to the top of this chat here. So come on over, follow us over there, watch those videos that I put out because I do give economic insights. I don't really give economic insights on a travel channel because it's a travel channel. People don't follow this for money tips. If you want money tips from me, the guy who's actually living this and been doing this for over 10 years, go over to that channel and give you more of that information. I can give you a little snippet into the money scene. I have done a couple of videos talking about that, but over there I talk about it a lot more in detail. But yes, you do need money to travel, and it is totally possible here in 2025 to be able to do that. But yeah, let's get into this. We're going to talk about first and foremost what I was doing when I lived in the US. So, my life in the US, I lived in Phoenix, Arizona. My job before I started doing all this, I was in the Navy for 8.5 years. Got to put that point five in there. And then my lifestyle was basically a solo guy. So I'm not married. I don't have kids. And I've got a lot of nephews and nieces. And my daily routine was basically working from home. I had started online business. I wanted to get a job after the military working for, like, I don't know, the government, doing cybersecurity or kind of picking up with that. But I ended up just mere kind of a blessing in disguise. I didn't realize it was a blessing in disguise. I was applying to all these jobs on USA Jobs, and I was applying on all these websites, but turns out no one was hiring bomb loaders to put bombs on Delta or United. So that was kind of where, because that was what I did. I did bombs, ammunition in the military, and once the war was over, no one was hiring for that in the civilian sector, and that's okay. But it forced me into a position where I started working online, right? So I was spending a lot of time at a computer. Now that's cool and it sounds good because it's more chill, it's done at your own pace, but it gets boring after a while. You got to stay active, right? Your body needs to stay active. You need to exercise. This is really important. And the more you stay at a computer, and if you're a workaholic like I was, you spend a lot of time looking at screens, and you start to realize I need work-life balance. Well, where I was living, it just wasn't good for work-life balance. I don't think the US is good for work-life balance, but even anywhere you stay for a long time becomes uninspiring, and that's not very good for work-life balance, especially when you're single. So one of the things I realized was that what helps keep me fresh is traveling around. So once I get bored in Singapore, which can happen after about 2 or 3 weeks, I go to the next place. Okay. When I'm in Thailand, if I'm bored in Bangkok, I go south to Hua Hin. From Hua Hin, I'll go to Champon. From Champon, I'll go to Koh Samui and Phuket, and then Krabi, and then I'll keep going south until I get to Koh Lipe, and then I'll go to Penang, Malaysia, and then I'll go to Kuala Lumpur, and then I'll get to Singapore, and then maybe I'll go to Vietnam, and then I'll go to Philippines. And so this is how I am as a nomad. That's literally my lifestyle. Like, people are always asking, where do you want to live? And I'm like, I don't want to live in any one place in particular. I like to move around. I like to be nomadic. And it's not because I'm trying to follow some sort of like someone else's ideas. It's, I'm literally that way. I'm a nomad. I was born that way. Like, I'm someone who's just got a gypsy spirit. And so that's why I wrote that book, The Diary of a Three-Star Gypsy. But that's when I realized that I need to change it up every once in a while, because what happens is when I walk around, when I exercise, when I go outside and I go to the same restaurants, I go to the same places over and over, I just get bored of it. Thanks to everyone who's smashing up the likes, by the way. So that was like the breaking point when I was in the US, was just being like, man, this is like Groundhog's Day every single day. It's very bland. It's very cookie cutter. Okay. People think that's anti-American to say that. They think that I'm bashing the US. And I'm just saying that it's not. It's just, it is what it is. But the big thing is very expensive. And there's not a lot of human connection. Don't get me wrong. I thought Phoenix has good, friendly people, but you can get a more richer human connection outside of the US, in my opinion. And what I was really seeking was more down to earth, because everything over there seemed to be more uppity. People seem to be uppity. They seem to be a little bit, I don't know. It's just there's not a real rich human connection that you can get. I mean, there's going to be people who are going to say, "Oh man, I go out all the time and I meet people all the time in the U.S." And I'm like, "Really? Where?" It's cool, it's whatever, but I love Americans. I mean, they're nice people. I would always say that U.S. Americans are good people. They're good workers most of the time. If you can work with them, if you get a chance to work with them, work with them. If you're not from the U.S., I'm speaking to you. But I'm not trying to put down Americans. I think Americans, by and large, are trustworthy. I think they're good workers. I think if they say they're going to pay you, they'll pay you. So even when I travel around, people, I always say, "What's your favorite country?" And they're always, America always comes up. Like, I'm talking about the client base, the customers. They always say like the Aussies, the Americans. I would say Aussies and Americans are the ones that everyone always likes the most as far as like customers. So uh, I'm not hating on Americans. I'm just telling you that life in America is different. It's People are stressed out, they're burned out, the cost of living is through the roof. You hear this in Australia as well. And then there's like this lack of freedom. We call ourselves a free country, but is it really free? I mean, one of the things that the US has also is an incredibly judgmental society. And even me, I fall into that. But I think it's because of the two-party system. As much as we take pride in having a two-party system, I think that also divides and fragments us. People are forced to be on a polar opposite spectrum, and I just don't think it's useful, because it puts people at war, right? It's like it's hard to get along when you're like, I'll talk to someone who's on the opposite side of the political spectrum than me, and as long as we don't talk about politics, we get along great. But the second that we enter into that chat, things get a little bit haywire. And America's so focused on politics, like nonstop. It's in the news cycle, it's everywhere. And I think that just kind of like, I'm just like, I got to get away from that. So that was like one of the main breaking points where I was like, dude, I got to get out of here for my mental health, for my work life balance, to get rid of the political and the cultural stress, to get away from like, because it's everywhere on the TV. Oh my gosh, the ads, the pharmaceutical stuff. It's like over there, they're trying to get everyone on a pharmaceutical. And I'm not trying to get on a pharmaceutical for life. Like, if someone tried to say, oh, you got to be on this for the rest of your life, it's depressing, whatever it is they're trying to put you on. So that was it. So why I chose to leave, feeling stuck in the grind, the daily grind, that monotonous hamster wheel. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, especially if you're watching this video. There's probably a reason why you're watching this video, right? And so you know what I'm talking about. Thanks to everyone who's smashing up the likes. I see what you're saying. What are some of the travel channels that inspired you to travel? Great question. I'll answer that in a little bit. So Isa says, I like Arizona, but I'm living in California and looking for a place to invest in the future. Good. Hey, bro, we spoke via Telegram. My wife and I are retired military, and we have been going back and forth moving abroad. We're worried about TRICARE coverage, our daughter's education. Oh, wow. That's some good commentary. Okay, don't let me, I'm going to talk about that after I go through the whole subject here. Okay. Where wow, that's a good question, because I can understand why people would say that. So, the desire for a slower and meaningful lifestyle, that was something that I was looking for. Like, I really like to just chill. I went around Florida, I went around Key West, I went around California, I went around Arizona. And the thing is, you just got to drive everywhere. It's like all car based. I like one of the things I like about Belize, which is really close to the US, is everyone has to drive a golf cart. Just That's just so much cooler. Like in Thailand, it's like all about riding mopeds. That's just like, cars are so like, it's hard to walk around in a place where there's cars just zinging by you all the time. And America is a very car-based culture, and I'm not big on car-based culture. I love cars and driving long distance if I need to, but if I'm just trying to chill in a place, like, the last thing I want to be around is a lot of cars zipping around and all that stuff. I don't mind motorbikes. I don't mind smaller vehicles, but big old cars like going 55 miles an hour while I'm walking on the sidewalk, just constantly, it's not very relaxing. So the desire for slower and more meaningful lifestyle, that's what I was really seeking. Just like, and again, I'll go to an island. Some of these islands I went to in South Thailand or Philippines, I'll go there for 3 or 4 days. That's all I need. And then I'm ready to go back. Like, it's a good quick reset. Then I'm ready to go back to Cebu City or Bangkok or Phuket or Kuala Lumpur. At 3 or 4 days on an island is chill. Or I'll just go to another island for 2 days. So I'll just island hop. I'll do 3 or 4 days here, 2 days here, 2 days here, and then I'm ready to go back to a city. I'll do a couple days in the city, then I'll try and find a different vibe or a different city that I'll go to. And then by that time, I'm ready to go long distance again. Like, going in and out of airports does get exhausting. So I try to do things by train or private car if I can, or other alternatives to the airplane. But the big thing is, I want to be able to be fresh so that I can focus on my work really well. Like tonight, I had a coffee. I also had a tea. Um, when I work, that's what I do when I work. I like to have a nice drink. I try to make it healthy as possible, like no sugar. Coffee, I think, is all right for me. So where I've been, 90 countries. So I've been in 90 countries. Some of them I've been to over 30 times. Like, I've traveled a lot. I've been on too many airplanes. Too many airplanes. That's why I like land border crossings. You'll notice the more I travel, the more you'll see me doing land border crossings. Although I did arrive by plane here, and I did arrive in Bangkok by plane, but I was doing some travel around Thailand. It's just rainy season over there, and it was getting a little bit. Again, you go over to Thailand, you think you're going to be chilling in Thailand for a while, and then you're like, dude, it's rainy season. Every day was rain over there, and that's fine. You got to take the good with the you know not so optimized, right? But people talking about healthcare costs and the fear of unexpected debt. Yeah, I mean, if you do travel like this, you need to have a reserve. Like, you need to have, whether it's a credit card. I have a credit card backup reserve, $5,000 credit limit. And what that would do for me is get me home, and then be able to support, me to be able to get a new place while I'm home. But you should never be in a situation where you're on your last $1,000, because once you get to your last $1,000, the only thing left for you to do is fly home. I'm telling you that right now. You don't want to be one of those expats who's begging on the side of the road in a foreign country. No, don't be that person. And it's not to knock on anyone who does that. It's just, come on, play it. Be smarter about it than that, right? So you always got to have that like nest egg kind of tucked away in case of that situation. But yeah, I mean, when I first started traveling, I was traveling on credit cards anyway. I was $50,000 in debt, student loan debt and everything. I paid it off, believe it or not. I paid it off by hard work. I didn't at the time there was no bailout for that, right? Like so it was like I hated debt. I had a gray cloud over my head. This was in 2018, and I sold a couple businesses that I'd worked so hard to build, and then I ended up having enough money. I paid off my truck, I paid off my student loans, and I paid off my credit cards, and it paid off. And don't get me wrong, I had no idea how I was going to do it when I was taking out that loan, but I was working a lot. I was working, and I was trying to stay as mentally fit as possible. So the main reason I was traveling was because I felt like the more I traveled, the more opportunities came my way. I felt like I felt like I was getting more blessed. I felt like more opportunities were coming my way by traveling than just staying in one place. That's kind of how I became addicted to it. It's like I was getting more good luck the more I traveled. When I would stay home, it was like I just wasn't having like interesting opportunities come across my desk or into my email box when I was at home. As crazy as that sounds. So that's when I knew like I'm supposed to be traveling. Like I don't know why I'm supposed to be traveling, but I'm supposed to be traveling because I keep yeah, things just started happening for me. So you'd be surprised at how that can break you out of a funk. A lot of people get in these funks, and you can get in travel funks. I mean, I've traveled and felt like I was in a funk for a little bit. And a lot of times just simply changing the location can break you out of that funk. Like sometimes you'll be in a place, like let's just say you're in Bangkok, it's raining every day, and you're like, man, I'm out of my country and I'm in Bangkok, everything's supposed to be cool. But then all of a sudden you get to Singapore and you just get this new, fresh, just energy, right? And then, you stay here for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then you're like, well, I need a new place. Where am I going to go? Maybe Vietnam, maybe Bali, maybe Dubai. Like Dubai's on the horizon for me. Anything like that. I mean, maybe Europe. We'll see what ends up happening. Someone says, sorry, I live in California and looking for a nice place to live in the future. Someone says, I'm just like you, bro. I get inspired when I travel and it makes me more creative. Yeah, that's true. West Coast. Thinking to rent my house in California. Probably I have a good traveling like you. You're my inspiration. Okay, so yeah, I do own a house. I own a condo in the US in Mesa. Thanks to 22 people are smashing up the likes. We'll keep going. And I'll answer some questions. But yeah, I do own a house. And when I first made the decision to travel full time, what I ended up doing was basically contacting a travel or an agency, a rental agency, and I looked online. I didn't really think it was possible to do this because at the time I owned a car, I owned a house, and I had a fully furnished house. And so it was just you got to do first steps first. Find out if there's anyone who can be your rental agent. And then they did. And then they said, okay, can you be vacated out of your house? We'll take some pictures. We'll do an inspection. And then it took them 2 months to actually rent out my house. So I had to, pay my rent, pay my mortgage. I was actually traveling full time without just paying my rent or my mortgage anyway. And when I was renting, I was still paying that as well because I'd travel like 3 months and then come home. But either way, it took them 2 months. They finally found someone. They've been in there for like almost a year and a half now, living there. I pay a little bit extra because I have to pay the HOA still, which doesn't cover the rent or their rent cost. But once I found that, I sold my car. I took my car to the dealer. I said cash price. They bought it off me for $40,000. I took that money and I put that into Bitcoin when it was like 45,000. So you get it, kind of like money moves, right? And then Bitcoin like went down a little bit, and I was like, oh boy, is that a good investment? I took half of it and I put it into Bitcoin and Cardano. But yeah, anyway, So that ended up taking a while to pan out, but it's panned out, obviously, if you know what the prices are now. But that was like a decision that I made. And so I didn't really feel any downside to that. As far as like all my belongings, I sold a lot of it on OfferUp. Uh, I gave a lot of it away. I put some of it in a storage, and I had too big of a storage. And then over time, I decided to actually downsize that storage. So I've downsized the storage, and now it is in a 10 by 10, and it's like only $50 a month instead of like $150 a month. And yeah, so that was what I did with that. And by that time, I was free. And then the next thing I know, like I'm traveling, and I'm like, well, I'm homeless. It's like when someone says, "Where do you live?" Well, I'm like, well, I'm homeless, but I own a house. They're like, oh, like, when you're on a date, don't ever tell someone that like you're homeless like that. You kind of got to reframe how you say it. Like I would just say it just as a joke because I knew I wasn't like broke as a joke, but people, you say you're homeless, they'll think like you're literally like homeless, and technically, yeah, I am because I don't have a place that I can go call my home, my own bed because I travel full time, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I look at it as a great thing, man. Because you know, even here in Singapore, like I'll go around Singapore. I'll stay right now. I'm right now in this place called Marine Parade. From Marine Parade, I'll move into like Central. I'll go maybe towards Novena. I'll maybe go towards like Boat Key at some point, and then when I'm bored, I'll just probably head out, bounce out to the next place. Maybe it's going to be Vietnam. Who knows? Someone says, "Hi, finally listening to you on the live chat." Thumbs up. By the way, if you guys are wondering why you're not getting the notifications for the live chats, you actually have to turn on the bell. So, a lot of people say, "Hey, I finally caught you live. Hey, I missed this. I didn't get notified by YouTube." If you do have the bell turned on, turn off the bell and then re-trigger the bell. Like turn back on the bell, and then it reactivates the algorithm. Also, when you engage with the videos, it sends a signal to the algorithm like, "Yeah, I want to watch more live streams." So liking the video and commenting, definitely a proper engagement. Someone says, "Are you married, or do you think you'll ever get married and have children?" That's a good question. No, I probably don't really see myself getting married. I do like to date. I have like a date, but I don't really see myself. Like there was a couple times where I felt like I was getting serious in a relationship here recently, like maybe over like the last few years. And every time I was like, man, if I get too serious, I'm not going to be able to travel. So I guess I took travel. And everyone's like, well, you could get into a relationship with someone who loves to travel and you could travel together. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem with traveling with somebody, because I can travel with someone for like 3 to 5 days, that's cool. But like after that, it's kind of like we got to be on the same page. Like everyone's gonna want to travel to the exact same place. And the way I travel is more like free. I like to have freedom of movement. Um, but yeah, I definitely like to have friends. I definitely like to have girlfriend. And so everything's cool with that. But no, I don't really see myself getting married because in this day and age, it could happen, but right now, not right now. I'm not so interested in that. But there are times where it does cross my mind. Maybe I'm ready to settle down, but at this moment, not on my priority list. That was on my priority list when I was younger. It just never happened. So, of all the places you visit again, if you had to pick where you need to stay long term, what place would you pick? Which places you wouldn't? Well, like I had said earlier in the video, I don't know if you saw it. I said that I'm not really too interested in finding a long-term place to live, but I do have some countries where I do have multiple entry visa or long-term visa. Singapore is a place where you get 90 days, so I'm pretty cool with that. It's just really expensive here. Thailand, I do have the destination Thailand visa, so that's something that's good. Philippines doesn't offer a long-term visa for someone who's like not retired or younger, like a young person. Um, but Thailand offers that. Malaysia is a place where you can get 90 days, so I like that. I did get a multiple entry visa for Vietnam. Um, you'll know what I'll be honest with you. Coming to Singapore, I have to accept the fact that it's more expensive. I love Singapore, but it's more expensive. Same with when I go to Dubai, it's more expensive. So after I'll go to a really expensive place like Singapore or Dubai, I'll want to go back to like a cheap country or a more affordable country like Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, just to kind of recoup my savings. That's a big plus value. I mean, value, cost of travel, cost of living. It's so big right now. Like, I mean, that's why those places are popular. I mean, I can't sure, people go to Japan, and I'm like, "Yeah, go to Japan. It's so expensive." Like, Japan's expensive, Singapore, it's expensive. I mean, I can only, like, justify financially being in an expensive place like that for so long. Someone said, $1 you can buy a meal in Indonesia. Yeah, I mean, that's true. So, I mean, that's a place you can stay for a month. You get 30-day visa. You can easily extend online there. Maybe stay for 60 days. But, you're going to save money after 60 days in Bali, and you're going to, get a pretty good work-life balance. And then, but after 60 days, 30 days in Bali, I'm honestly only good for like 3 weeks in Bali. Like, I've tested Bali a few times, like 3 weeks probably max in Bali. But yeah, after 3 weeks, I'm ready to go to a different place. I did travel Indonesia quite extensively. Went all across Java, Samarang, Surabaya, Jakarta, Bandung. I went all those places, and none of those really gravitated or pulled at me. But I do want to get out there to uh, what are those other places? Sulawesi looks beautiful. Go out to Komodo, that area. I haven't been out there. Go on beyond that towards like Papua. Papua. That's gonna be fun. I was actually thinking about going to Borneo here soon. Actually, that might be something that's coming up really quickly if I can get over to Borneo. Every time I get into uh, Singapore, Malaysia area, I'm always like, man, if I just get over to JB, I'll just hop over to Borneo, and then I'm in Borneo. Visa, I don't have to go through immigration. I just cross immigration at the Singapore, Malaysia land border crossing, go to JB. They have an international airport. They have direct flights that go to Borneo. And then I don't have to process immigration because I'm already in Malaysia. So it's just like a domestic arrival. And that's real tempting. And one of the reasons I want to go to Borneo, aside from the fact it's one of the biggest islands in the world and it's got orangutans, also KK, Kota Kinabalu seems beautiful. So we'll see. I mean, I got to get out there to Borneo at some point in time. And who knows, maybe I'll do a land border crossing in Borneo from Malaysia to Brunei, and then maybe from Malaysia to uh, Indonesia. Because then once I'm in Indonesia and I'm in Borneo, then I can easily hop over to Sulawesi, get that off my list, get over to maybe Papua. There's a place in Indonesia that's really beautiful called Raja Ampat. They call it the last Eden on Earth. And if you've ever seen underwater videos of Raja Ampat, you would know why. Just above water and below water. It's kind of like an undiscovered Palawan, Philippines. It's kind of like how Palawan was. Indonesia has more islands than the Philippines, by the way. Greetings from Florida. Where's everyone watching from? Someone said in Java Island, more cheap. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's Java's tough. Java's got a lot of traffic. I even went to Jogja. I probably spent the most time in Jogja and Jakarta. I didn't. I got to Bandung and I was like, maybe like a short stay in Bandung, and took the train right there to Jogja, and then from Jogja I went to Samarang, and then from Samarang I went to Surabaya. But it's cheap. It's cheap. It's just that it's very crowded. It's very crowded. It's a very beautiful island, but very crowded. Another place in Indonesia that I want to check out is Sumatra. Now, here's something cool about Singapore. So you can easily do like a land border crossing by boat. So it'd be a water border crossing, I guess you could say. You can go to from here, Singapore. You can go to there's two islands, Bintang or uh, Batam Island, and then from Batam you're in Indonesia, and then you don't have to do any more immigration processing. You're in the country, and you can explore from like Batam, you can go to Sumatra. So, there's a lot of possibilities from Singapore, and there's a lot of areas I haven't really explored. The only area I really explored around here, I did go to Batam one time and I wasn't impressed. So I haven't been in a hurry to get back there, but I'd like to get over to Sumatra. Sumatra and Borneo both have orangutans, and I'm trying to see some wild orangutans. I like wildlife. I do. Someone said, "Hi, does any place remind you of San Diego County?" No. Oh, the Mediterranean. Have you ever been to Nice, France? Nice, France kind of reminded me of it. Tel Aviv, Israel. Tel Aviv kind of reminded me of it. I would say when I went to Tel Aviv, I remember saying, "This reminds me of San Diego." um, Someone says, I turned 18 and a month later, I went on a no budget travel. I've been in Russia 1 month, Turkey 3 months. I'm in Indonesia already 5 months. Went to Malaysia using your tutorials for 9 days. Also, nice. So how old are you now? I mean, you left when you were 18. How old are you now? Someone says, none of my business, but do you have an online business that helps expenses while you travel? Well, yeah. I mean, do you know that a YouTube channel, YouTube channels make money? Okay. You get paid ads. Like it's so there's one way. But I have other sources of income, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, when you ask that question, you have to realize like it's a YouTube channel. So I'm sure he gets money because every time an ad comes up, YouTube serves ads and they give you a percentage of that. So that right there answers that question straight off, right? But yeah, I do have other other financial opportunities. I was actually working for a travel company for a long time. Um, and then when the stuff with the 2020 happened, they cut the contract and then they renewed like when it picked back up in 2021 and then they canceled again like a year and a half later. But yeah, I mean, you figure out ways. I get people always messaging me for sponsorships and stuff, although I never really done it yet. How many days a year do you travel? 365. I don't know if you were watching this video for a while, but like I said, I don't have a house. I own a house, but I have a house back in Arizona because I have to have a physical address, but I'm renting it out to someone. So, yeah, I travel full time. Every night I stay. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, I have a backpack and a suitcase. No joke. That's what I live off of. Today I went to the grocery store to get one of these bags because every time I go to a new city, I get one of these like reusable bags, and inside there I'll put like vitamins. I'll get like certain vitamins like vitamin D, vitamin K, magnesium, and like B12. Whatever vitamins you feel like you need, probiotics. And then, like I said, I get some honey. I always get a fresh honey, real honey. I always get lemons because I like tea. But inside there, I'll put like little knickknacks that I'll have for that city. In this case, like these sunglasses, I'll just drop them in there because they're like cheap sunglasses. Um, Maybe I'll have like these little earbuds. I just drop them in there when I transfer hotels and or whenever I have because I have two pairs of shoes. I have flip flops and then I have a tennis shoes. So if I'm not wearing my tennis shoes, I'll put my flip flops in that bag when I move hotels. If I'm wearing the flip flops, I'll put my tennis shoes in there, and everything kind of holds in that bag, so it functions as like a nice third option. Someone says you should visit South Africa. The coast in Cape Town is beautiful. I just spent a couple weeks there. How was the safety down there? Tyler says Higurana got the crazy rich Asians money. Oh, what do you say? I'm currently watching you in Indonesia. Okay, that's Higurama. Are you still invested in crypto? Yes, I am. Are you guys following my channel? Economic News Insights. I pinned that to the top. That's my new financial channel. Um, but yeah, I definitely most of my brain power goes to financial management. I'm almost to a point where I feel like I could teach finance, economics, and where I actually feel like my full-time job is economic management or financial management at this time. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now is like, if you guys really want to know, I didn't always used to be into financial management. It just kind of happened because I realized that having the resource of financial means was like incredibly important to being able to travel. So my passion is travel, island hopping, exploring the world. But I realized that money makes it all possible. Yeah. Okay. So someone says, "Hi, Island Hopper. What are some of your favorite islands that you've been to?" Oh my goodness. Ah, favorite islands. Favorite islands. Well, in the U.S., I really like Big Island of Hawaii. I love Big Island of Hawaii. That's a magical island. Better than Maui, better than Kauai. Both of those are good, but nothing beats the Big Island. If you haven't been to the Big Island, I don't know what's stopping you from going over there, especially if you're an American. Uh, like St. John Island in the USVI, U.S. Virgin Islands. We've made videos about all these places, by the way, on this channel, so you could check them out and see why I like those places. But as far as like in the Caribbean, I like Anguilla. I like St. Bart's. Those are really good. In the Mediterranean, I like well, Santorini is pretty amazing, but it's become so touristic, it's takes away from the appeal. But I do like this island called Eos, which is nearby there. I like Paros and Naxos. Those are islands in the Aegean. Um, so a lot of the Greek islands I really like. I like the island in the Balearic Islands, which is off the coast of Spain. That's called Majorca. I really like Majorca. Um, Ibiza, not so much. Let Formentura is really nice. That's nearby Ibiza. That's a cool island. Um, and then in Asia, I like a lot of islands. I went, let's see, in Philippines, my favorite island is probably, hmm, my favorite islands in Philippines. Well, I like Panglao. I do like Panglao, which is off the southern coast of Bohol. I like Surigao. I like El Nido, but that's attached to Busawanga, so you would need to go to Busawanga to get to El Nido. And I've been to like 30 some odd islands in Philippines. I went to Camotes. Camotes is a cool island. That's a little bit of a hidden gem for you. Go to Camotes Island. It's off it's in between Leyte and Cebu, just north of Bohol. I went to Malapascua, which is nearby Bentayan. That's all around Cebu, so you could get to any of those islands. Those are really nice. Cebu's a cool island, actually. Like for a bigger island, if you want to explore like a lot of islands, go to Philippines. There's a lot of islands there that are it's there's a lot of islands. I mean, Indonesia has more islands, but it's not as easy to travel between islands like it is in Philippines. But honestly, the best country to explore islands is Thailand. I just went to some islands in the south of Thailand, south of Koh Lanta. A lot of people don't know of these, but Koh Nai, Koh Kradan, Koh Mook, and then up down south of there is Koh Lipe. Everyone knows about Koh Lipe, but they don't know about that area that I'm talking about is called the Maldives of Thailand. I just went to Maldives. You know, you guys saw the videos when I went there in January and February. I went to Sri Lanka. That's a cool island. But yeah, I would say I would go to the Maldives of Thailand anytime over the actual Maldives. Like, skip the Maldives. I'm good on the Maldives. Bye. Hey, have fun. I'll s- I support you, but don't, I'm not going to really be out there. Someone says, "Do you get lonely traveling alone?" No, because the second I get lonely, I just go to the pub and hang out with like whoever's there. Seriously. No, I don't. I don't get lonely. Mm. I mean, no. I'm trying to think of if I like ever get this like, oh my gosh, I'm lonely. No. I there was a time when I think this is what happens with solo travel when you get lonely. When you travel with someone for a long time, you get used to that. And then when you have to go back out solo, it can be hard at first. But as you get into the rhythm of traveling solo, you just get into the rhythm. You make friends with yourself and then you figure out how to travel solo. So that's why you guys probably feel lonely is because you are in a codependent situation. But once you actually break out of that codependence and then you get solo again, you will. I mean, whenever I would get lonely or I want to talk to people, I literally just go to the bar and start ordering beer. It's that easy for me. Beer, like 2 or 3 beers. Local craft beer, always the local craft beer. Not that, well, I mean, in the Philippines, they don't really have local craft beer on the island, so it would be San Miguel Light. San Miguel Light and like a tequila. It's like the same kind of like Philippines is very much like Latin America. So I kind of like vibe like Latin America when I'm in Philippines, but when I'm in Thailand, I vibe like Thai style. Like Thai style is like a whole vibe. Um, so Thailand, I even drink San Miguel when I'm in Thailand. But honestly, a lot in Thailand, I was drinking acai, which is a Japanese beer, just because I don't get like the side effects of a hangover. Like if I drink Chong or if I drink, some of those other beers. But always drink responsibly, of course. You have to drink responsibly. China Joe says, "Hey, greetings from New York. In your virtual cam channel, you mentioned Singapore card. I think it was SG. Does the card have biometrics? London uses the camera New York system or New York C humans at immigration, NYC humans at immigration." Okay, so yeah, in Singapore, so you're talking about my VertCam channel, the transportation channel. I just did an arrival video showing people what it's like to arrive into Singapore. Now, with that, they have a SG card. It's an arrival card. You just basically put in your name, the flight you're coming in on, from what port of debarkation, and then port or how long you're going to be there. I just put in like 45 days, even if I plan to stay for like 7 days. I just say 60 days or something like that. I think it's 90 days total. But I usually, because you never know if you want to stay longer. You might meet a girlfriend and want to stay longer, whatever the reason is, right? So I just put in like maximum days or close to like something like a long period of time. And yeah, I put in that information and they give you like an approval. They ask you if you've got a cough or anything, or if you've been to like any African or Latin American countries in the last 7 days. And reason is because, there's like these certain types of viruses like yellow fever and stuff that come from there. But yeah, so I just arrive, you have that card, and you take your passport. Like you literally walk up to immigration, you put your passport in the machine, and then it takes a picture of you and you're in. Well, so the cool thing about that is, if you arrive at an airport where they have human immigration officers, there might be 8 booths open. The line is like zigzagging around out the door because it's so busy because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday night or something. Well, with these, they have like 30 different like little gates that you go through. So instead of having like 6 officers, but 8 gates open, but 2 of them are closed because some of the officers are on lunch break or dinner break, whatever the case may be, you know. So I really like that. And it's so efficient. There's like no line either. Like when you have 30 different opportunities to go through, there's like no congestion. And Singapore is one of the busiest airports. I don't think I've ever waited in a line to process immigration in Singapore for a long time. They don't give you a passport stamp either. So if you're one of those types of people who wants to collect the passport stamp, you're not going to get one in Singapore. I'm actually hoping that more places adopt this idea. Actually, for the first time ever, when I left Thailand, there was no passport stamp given. And if you travel a lot, that's good because all those passport stamps take up pages after a while. And you like my last one, I had to get a new passport because some countries won't let you in unless you have 2 empty passport pages. So like once you get to like almost a full book, you got to get a new passport, and that takes 30 days to process, right? Yeah. So picture biometrics, they just take your picture. It's really easy. West Coast Millennial says, make friends with yourself. Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I used to dread eating by myself or being seen alone because I would just be like, man, if I get seen alone, people are going to think that I'm like lonely and don't have any friends or something. Nowadays, I'll like sit down at a Korean barbecue restaurant, have a couple beers, and I don't even think for a second who's looking at me eating alone. It doesn't even bother me at all. But when I was younger, it used to be a thing because, you know, young people are more conscious of that, right? But as you get older, it doesn't impact you at all. Steve said, just checked out and subscribed to your economic channel. Looks good. I will start watching. Nice. Yeah, that's a good place. Someone said, please visit Poland. Yes, I did visit Poland. Went to Krakow and Warsaw. And I like Poland. Everyone likes Poland. Kimmy says, where to stay in Big Island? You can stay, so it depends, but I would say arrive into Kona. I'm more of the Kona side of the island than Hilo. Kona's desert, arid. Hilo is rainforest. So, what do you like? Do you like green, thick rainforest, a little bit of rain, lots of rain, or do you like more arid? Because the better beaches are where it's more desert-like. Um, because there's less algae in the water, so it's gonna be more of that transparent blue. But I like the Kona side more than the Hilo side. But don't get me wrong, I do like staying up in the mountains a bit on the Hilo side, on the Hamakua coast, getting an Airbnb or a rental there. They don't have any hotels. But I would say Kona, base camp out of Kona for like 2 or 3 days at one of the hotels there or on the Kona side of the island. That's what I would say. Have you ever visited Russia? No, unfortunately, not yet. I've only been to Ukraine. Are there countries that you've traveled to or wish to travel to, but are too dangerous to visit or go back to? Not really. I always tell people the most dangerous place that I've ever been was like Jamaica, Queens, in New York City, or Compton in Los Angeles. Don't ask me how I ended up in Compton. Well, I'll tell you. I was staying in Long Beach. I was just staying in Long Beach and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna make a Los Angeles video, so I'll just ride the train, they have like a streetcar kind of like tram thing that takes you from Long Beach to University of Southern California uh, campus." And I wanted to go up there and just like see what's going on, because like wherever you go around the country, whether it's Arizona State, like Tempe's got Mill Avenue, like all the college places have, good nightlife. Well, boy, was that a bad idea on my behalf. And I had no idea at the time. So I'm like going over to USC from Long Beach just because I was like going to go have a beer and get a bite to eat at one of the like areas around the university. And I'm on this tram and it's still daytime, but by the time I arrived, it's just past dark. And all of a sudden I felt like everyone around me was like preying on me. Like when I say preying, like they were predators. Like these were people who would like I could see why American women would say it's scary being a woman in the US because here I am, a 6'2" man. I'm like 210 pounds now. Maybe I was 200 pounds then. But either way, I mean, they were literally like looking at me like, hey, like they were eyeballing me like I was like, dude, this is not a safe place. So instead of actually like exploring around University of Southern California campus, I was like, I better go back. And I actually sat next to this other guy, and he was like, let's just sit next to each other because it's kind of dangerous out here, isn't it? I was like, dude, you feel that too? I was like, yeah. And I like people would literally like they would sit across from you and they would look at you very like these were like not normally sane people. Anyway, that was in like I guess you could say that was Compton or something. I just felt like Compton, but that was a very dangerous place. I don't ever remember being that scared anywhere else in the world. Maybe like one time in Indonesia and maybe like one time in like the Middle East. But Jamaica Queens was the same way. Like it was a very shady situation. Someone said, "You ever been to Guam?" Yeah, I have. I went to Guam when I was in the military, but not after. I need to go back there. Johnny Joe says, interesting. They only have a person traveled to Africa or South America when the coronavirus came out of China. Well, okay. Um, have you ever visited Parapolis? Where's Parapolis? I've never heard of that. Carmel Dream says, makes me sad to hear that about my own country. Yeah, it's obviously not something that I would want to say about, my own country, but I mean, there's areas around South Phoenix that are quite dangerous actually. Like I'll be driving the car and I'll be like, I'm not driving down there. Oh, another place that was actually dangerous. There's parts of Mexico that are dangerous. I remember one time I was staying in the tourist area around Puerto Vallarta and Nuevo Vallarta, and I just started walking because I had had a tequila and I was like, I'll just walk the beach. And I ended up kind of walking a little bit too far. And I ended up like kind of going up into the land. And I was like, oh boy, this is not a good place to be. This is not a good place to be. And that was in out just outside of Puerto Vallarta. You just feel it. When you're in a place where it's okay, so like the cab that I actually fielded down, I got a taxi. The person had a glass eyeball, which okay, that's fine, but he didn't have any markings on his car and I needed a ride back. But that was a scary situation actually. Also, I had a scary situation that happened in Shanghai. kind of like an abduction that happened in Shanghai, China. You wouldn't Everyone says China's safe, but after that, I've kind of been like, I don't know, man. China can flip on you kind of quick, and I didn't like that. Caroline says, "Hi from Dubai." Hello from Dubai. Someone says, "Love your videos." Thank you. Just one country in Scandinavia to travel instead of all. Oh, Norway. Best city in Scandinavia is Stockholm, in my opinion, but Oslo is cool. But I mean, if you're going to Scandinavia, I would say that you're not going there for the cities, right? You're going there for the nature, and nothing's going to beat uh, Oslo. I mean, Norway. Take the train from Oslo to Bergen, but the most beautiful trains I've ever ridden are in Switzerland. I mean, I don't know why more countries don't build trains like Switzerland. I mean, that's good. Someone says Perapolis, ancient capital of the Persian Empire, Shiraz, Iran. No, I've never been to Iran. I'm an American, so Americans are not technically encouraged to go to Iran. Like I remember one time I told my grandma, I was like, because that was back when I was traveling really quickly everywhere, and I was like, I might go to Iran, and she's like, you better not. So I was like, oh, come on, grandma, it's safe. And she's like, no, it's not. But no, ever since then, I was like, well, I better listen to grandma because that was like the only place my grandma told me not to go. I've seen Americans go to Iran. Like I was going to go to Pakistan too. I got a lot of friends in Pakistan. Every time I go to Dubai, I always make friends with Pakistanis. They're like the friendliest people in Dubai that you'll like. I don't know if you've ever been there. Between Filipinos and Pakistanis, I always make friends in Dubai with so many taxi drivers. Yeah, like the taxi drivers, I always make they like want to hang out and they're cool. Carmel Dream says, I really like your honesty. Thank you. Uh, what are they saying? Where to Are there countries that you've traveled or wish to travel to, but a bit too dangerous to visit or go back to? I mean, there are some areas actually in Dominican Republic now that I think about it, that you wouldn't want to be in certain beaches in Dominican Republic. um, Past a certain hour or alone or something like that. Have you ever been to Disney Springs in Orlando? Yeah, we made a full video about Orlando, best things to do in Orlando. You guys can watch that on this channel if you want, but Disney Springs is one of those best things to do. I mean, Disney Springs is cool because it's like, it's just it's got the hot air balloon, it's got the Rainforest Cafe, it's got the Legos museum. I mean, it's a cool place, right? So yeah. Do you go on cruises? I go on ferries that take me from one point to another. I like the idea of cruises. The problem with cruises is it doesn't give you much time in a port. I think you get like a day, but I think cruises are great if you just want to get like wet your palate, like get a taste for what to expect in the Caribbean. Do a Caribbean cruise if you want to just get a taste of what Cabo San Lucas is and Mazatlan. Do a cruise down into the Sea of Cortez or do a cruise wherever you want to, explore. Because what it does is you get an idea of what that place is like, and then you go back if you really loved it and you want to see more, right? So that's what I think cruises are good at. You like if you do a Caribbean cruise, you might get 7 islands out of the cruise, and then that's 7 islands to say, well, which one did I like the most? I'll go back to those 7 islands. Because what you don't want to do is pick one island in the Caribbean, go there and like not like it, and then not go to the one that's actually the one that's perfect for you. So cruise is good in that sense. Anyway, thanks to everyone who's smashing up the likes. I'll keep going if you guys want me to. Someone says, have I ever had any problems being an American at all? Like when the trade wars kind of popped off, I was a little bit concerned about that, being that I was in Asia. That was something that I was concerned about. But when I've had conversations about that, people still generally like America. Um, but we'll see how it all pans out. I mean, this is something that's we're still trying to pan out. Let's see here. Have you ever been to Sicily and Corsica? Uh no, neither of those. So yeah, I need to go back there along with Sardinia. Um, went up and down a couple times to Italy. I the furthest south I ever went in Italy was Tropea, and I was gonna take a train all the way down to Sicily, but the train stops there, so I didn't really have a way to get from Tropea to, Sicily. Tropea is, like, real far south. It's farther south than Naples for sure. Someone says, "Have you ever been or love you from India?" Yeah, I love India. India's well, I love Indian food. Indian people, I always make friends with Indian people. Um, every city has like a little India, and I always go there and get like butter chicken or lollipop chicken or uh, you know, what's that? Not just butter chicken, but tikka masala. I love garlic naan. Like one of my favorite meals is like soda water with butter naan and or butter chicken and garlic naan. Just oh man, or a beer. But the problem is if you drink a beer with naan and rice and all that, or basmati rice, you just feel like really big afterwards. Like you feel like really bloated. Same with soda water, actually. But it's one of the most savory meals after a long day. Oh my gosh, that's just a good meal. Someone says, I've been following your channel for a long time. Just wanted to say happy to catch you live. If you could choose a second home around the world, where would it be? Right now, I would give you a list of like Costa Rica, Thailand. Right now I'm in Singapore and I consider Singapore to be one of my second homes, honestly. But it's a small place. Yeah. So those three are pretty good. Costa Rica is really good. Are you friends with travel vloggers? Which one do you like talking YouTube stuff or love your chats? Thank you. I've actually met a couple people along the way here recently. Like one guy, he's like 21 years old, 22 years old, and he's funny as can be. I was like, dude, you need to be a YouTuber. I was like, people would because he's like, man, I got too much energy. I always need to be doing something, but I don't have enough money. And I'm like, dude, why don't you create a YouTube channel and see if you can make some money? Maybe you can get a million views on a video a couple times and help pay for it. I think people would want to see this kid because this kid does some crazy stuff. Like he's fearless. He's from Estonia. He's living in Australia. He's working as a construction guy. And I think he's going to travel full time, but I told him I would give him guidance on how to do it. And so he says he's getting ready to travel again. Like he's like one of those guys. He'll like ride a motorcycle. He'll like rent a motorcycle and like go from like south of Thailand all the way to Chiang Mai on a motorcycle. I'm like, dude, you got to have. I'm like, you're not even making videos about this. You're just doing it. I'm like, dude, there's people like making those videos, getting a lot of action. And then there was this other dude that I talked to when I was in Malapascua in Philippines. He's from Poland. I think he's like 29. I was like, dude, you need a YouTube channel because he like skydives. Like this guy is like an adrenaline junkie. I met him actually. I realized he was like one of those adventure travelers because I'm not really an adventure traveler. I'm not. I play it safe. I'm conservative now at 42. I'm not like one of those people who's like trying to what do they call that? Cheat death. Like I've never really been that type, but especially now, I'm not really one of those types because. But we were on a really crazy boat ride going from Malapascua Island to Cebu, and there was a huge typhoon coming, and we were on one of those. You ever been to Philippines? The boats have like these like wood things on the sides, and then the middle is the boat, and everyone was getting seasick, and the storm was coming head on. Like if you've never been in a typhoon in Philippines, it's pretty brutal. And the waves were huge, and this guy was just like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, this is scary." I was like, "This is freaking scary." It was scary. Like people were throwing up. Like this old lady, like she got, I mean, she got really banged up on that boat. She like hit her head. She like and we had to all go below decks because the rain was coming so violently. And this guy was like, yeah. And I'm like, what's up with you? And he's like, oh, I love adrenaline. And I was like, dude, then you need a YouTube channel because he was telling me he like slept in the forest with orangutans in Sumatra on like a 7-day like trek. And he like jumps out of planes, and he was talking about how he wants to jump out of planes without a parachute and see if he can hit the bullseye on the ground. And he's not joking. He's not joking. But that when I seen him how he was reacting to like this crazy typhoon that was coming hitting us in Malaposca, I try to avoid those kind of situations, but they pop up every once in a while. Um, it seems like you haven't visited Africa. Are these parts of Africa to plan to visit in the future? I would love to go to Africa. I mean, it's I'll tell you why I haven't been to Africa, and I really want to go. I have a lot of African friends. Like I make friends with people from Africa quite often because especially like Kenya. Kenya, like people from Kenya are very friendly. They're very inviting. Uganda's also a country where I've met a lot of people. Every time I ever wanted to go there and I watch a YouTube video, they're like, got my passport confiscated in Kenya or extreme corruption in but here's the thing, everyone that I've ever talked to that went there, they say they love Africa, but for me, I don't want to deal with I'm not a big fan of, like, corruption or, like, dealing with things where you've gotta you're trying to go explore, you're trying to go on vacation, but corrupt officials are gonna try and like catch you in a snare or something like that. I'm not a big fan of that. And I've seen that way too much. I've heard about it way too much. Like I know people who've booked tickets on Kenyan Airlines to Kenya, but they didn't have a return ticket. So right when they got to the airport, they wouldn't let them board the plane, and then made them disembark, and then they didn't refund their money for like $1,000. And so every time I think about it, I'm like, "Oh, man, it's gotta be like a hassle, like, arriving at that airport." But if there was any countries that I would go to, I would say Namibia, Kenya, Tanzania. But they all, like, require, like, some kinda, like, visa. I would say if those countries were ever serious about, like, attracting tourists, they need to, number 1, make it possible for, like, tourists to arrive without, like, fear of detainment or confiscation of passports. Also, they need to make it, like, more, visa free. Like, there's no need to have a visa. Come on. Like, what is going on here? Like, you think a tourist is just gonna like arrive in Kenya or Tanzania to like live 6 months? Maybe there are some people who would do that, but I mean, few and far between. But I most of those people, I mean, so Africa is definitely like an Eden. They have like some beautiful places there, like the wild animals, like I mean, rhinos. Like I always share like Africa nature videos, like lions. I love the giraffes. I just love the fact that there's so many wild animals in Africa. That's what I love about Sumatra and Borneo, right? But I did go to Egypt, and to be honest with you, Egypt was like the most complicated place to go. That was kind of like once I went to Egypt, and like they're always taking everything out of my bag, and it was like, "What are you looking for?" And they were never really sure what they were looking for. It's like they were just going through my. It was like they were just picking on you because of the way I look. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm a white guy, right? Like tall white guy, like easy target. Like I mean, you could say like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like you stand out like a sore thumb. It's like they're going to go through the tall white guy stuff, and everyone else is going to pass through, but they need to go through the tall white guy stuff because maybe he's got like I don't know something in there that you need to find. And it's just like you're standing there and you're like, okay, here we go again. And that happened in Egypt. Like every airport I went to, it was just annoying. Um, Someone said the locals in Ghana are the nicest people on earth. Like, yeah, I mean, the actual so the reason I would go to Africa is because of the locals. The reason that I'm not going to Africa yet is because of the governments, if that makes sense. So, but I did some research. It seemed like Namibia is like a really good country for that. So I think for like someone who's on training wheels for Africa, go to Namibia, I think. Tanzania kind of seems like it could be, but the recent research I did over there, they seem to have gotten like they rolled out something very kind of hostile and aggressive towards the United States. I don't know why. It was kind of like a reciprocal visa thing. So I was like, oh well, there goes my dreams of going to Zanzibar and the Serengeti and the Ngoro and uh, you know, um, Kilimanjaro. Someone said Morocco or Tunisia might be less of an issue. Yeah, I mean, I want to get to Morocco. There, I don't really have a reason not to go to Morocco, other than I did see there was a little bit of heckling, kind of like what you get in Egypt. Although I heard Morocco is like a more toned down Egypt, and then Tunisia, I haven't heard. I don't really have anything negative to say about Tunisia, and Tunisia seems like an easy one to get to. So we'll see. Someone says, if the USA is the greatest country on earth, then how come everybody isn't trying to move there? Why aren't we seeing a huge influx of Swiss and Dutch and Kiwis moving here? No, I never said that. Oh, I mean, I know that you're not saying that I said it's the greatest country on earth, because I didn't really say that. I think the US is a good place to work for sure. I think it's a good place. Like, you'd want to work for a US company and get US money. But as far as lifestyle goes, I always get happy when someone says, "I want to visit America." I'm like, "That's good. You should, because there's some really beautiful places." I always tell people, go to the US. Like, when I was talking to this lady, she's a singer in Thailand. We were in the sauna. She's married. She's got a husband and a kid. And I was like, "You should go to, Glacier National Park in Yosemite." I say, if you never, for someone going to the US for the first time, it's a great like place to travel. Like, US is amazing for travel, but to live, you know. Um, Someone says, "Why did you choose Thailand over any other country in Asia?" Okay, so pretty much, I think the consensus, like, if you were to ask anyone really in any travel group, Southeast Asia, what's the best country? They're gonna say Thailand. And the reason is because it's modern, it's cheap, people are very friendly. Like, Thailand's a place that doesn't have a mentality about war. They've never been colonized. So, like, the people don't have this like aggressive nature. They're very like soft spoken, they're very gentle, they have this saying sabai sabai. So the people are very friendly in Thailand. They're very welcoming. There's not a lot of scams. It's not dangerous, really. I mean, there might be a little bit of danger, but I haven't had any problems in Thailand, especially not recently. Thailand's, in my opinion, a very safe place. Like I said, it's very affordable, very modern. Hotel quality is great. Value is great. They've got great diversity in the north. They've got Chiang Mai and the mountains and the forest and temples and culture, and they got good food. And then in Bangkok, it's a nice cosmopolitan city. In the south, they've got so many different islands, lots of different islands, and lots of variety. And you can easily get around on a ferry and island hop really efficiently. You can get buses, you can get trains, you can get planes. It's got it all, and at a value. Where else are you going to get that kind of value? If you know, let me know. But being having been to 90 countries, I mean, the other one that people talk about is Vietnam. Vietnam's cool. It's cheap. The thing that Vietnam has that Thailand doesn't have, a little bit more of aggressive locals, I thought, and more scams, way more scams, way more scams. Like, I probably got last time I went to Vietnam, I probably got scammed like 10 to 15 times. Seriously, like little scams, nothing like too big, but scams that you don't see in Thailand. Someone says, countries with great stable economies don't need to migrate to America. America is beautiful with amazing nature, but the social nightlife aspect seems whack these days. Yeah. Like, I mean, I was like, going out to a bar in America is just depressing. You like, you can't bump in like the only time I'll ever go to a bar in the US and meet anyone is if it's football games on, and like, people can like relate to that. But otherwise, people don't want to talk to you. Like, the bartenders are usually like got a little bit of an attitude because they're in their little clique vibe. I don't know, like going to a bar in the US is, and the alcohol is like, it's bad alcohol. It's not good alcohol. Like, I don't know what they're putting in their preservatives, but it makes me very nasally. Like, I get like a nasal headache that I don't get outside of the US. Like, I won't drink Budweiser. Budweiser is a good beer, supposedly, but I get, every time I drink it, I get a headache. Coors is the same way. So there's putting some sort of chemical in there, or preservative. Hopefully they remove that, whatever it is. um, Someone says, going to Oslo on late August for 4 nights, enough time to take a day train to Bergen for one night, worth it? Yeah, if you can get the train to work in your favor, yeah, Bergen's worth it for sure. That train to Bergen is great. I mean, you'd want to do it in the daytime, obviously, so you can see what's in between. But I flew over from Oslo to Bergen, and I mean, that whole trip, I literally filmed that whole flight for VertCam because I was like, this is a crazy, like, you ever flown over the Rockies? Like, those mountains are just like, it's a beautiful flight. So I could only imagine how beautiful that train ride would be. Wow. What what's your take on Japan? Japan is great food. Wow, good food. They're very serious people. The people are friendly, but they're very serious. Like when you get into a taxi, you want to make sure you like clean up after yourself. Don't be like a sloppy person. Like, I mean, this should go. You should do this anywhere, but I'm just saying, like in Japan, all the taxis in Tokyo or even Osaka, but Tokyo, they all have white seats. So they put like a white cloth on there. And so, like, the last thing you want to do is put a little stain on there and have that driver remember you, the American guy who like put a little stain on there. Or like when you get out of the car, like always kind of like fix the seat and like, clean up any little sort of like mess or whatever and just make it nice for the next person because that's how Japan is. So they're very like, they're courteous. They might not like you, because you hear this like commonly said in Japan, like they might not like you, but they're always going to smile and take care of you. They're always going to be friendly. So they might not like foreigners because there's this like several like foreigners have told me this. I never had this problem. I always felt like everything was cool with the only time I had an issue in Japan was when I tried to stay at a capsule hotel, which is like a shared common space. They asked me if I had tattoos, and I said yes. And they said this because in the capsule hotel, because they share the hotels, if you have tattoos, it's they won't let you in some places. So tattoos are frowned upon. I should have never gotten all the tattoos that I got. I mean, it was like a thing that I did when I was in the military. But either way, I asked my mom if I should remove them. She's like, no, just keep them. Someone says, "Are living with." Hi, Jeff. Been watching your videos since days in Kona. What country have you experienced the friendly and most positive people? Thanks. Okay, so I'll tell you a couple of them. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has very friendly people. Those people smile all the time. It could be hot as heck, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, muggy, and you come walking up to one of the tuk tuk drivers, and they have like these little tuk tuks, right? And it'll be hot and he'll see you and he'll just be like, "Hey," and you'll just go up to him and you could be like coming straight out of the hotel, where the AC is, like, when you come out of a hotel where there's AC, it's ice cold, and then you go outside into the sauna. It's like a little bit of a shocker. And the sun in Colombo is quite bright and the pollution is actually quite thick. But the people in Colombo are all across Sri Lanka I found to be very friendly. I obviously think that Filipinos are very friendly. Thai are very friendly. Um, yeah, yeah, those three. I'm trying to think if there was any other place that had like friendly locals like that, and that was that. In parts of Indonesia, you can find friendly, and then you can find not so friendly. So, um, Malaysia, not so. I wouldn't say Malaysians are that friendly. They're friendly enough, but Thailand, Philippines, and uh, Sri Lanka. Someone says, rule of thumb, don't go to a country that the government is not in control. Oh, okay. Yeah. That would be good video. Anonymous says, I enjoyed your Sri Lanka videos. Man, dude, I put in a lot of effort on those Sri Lanka videos. They're really good information, and they've gotten low views. Like they've only gotten like 10 or 15,000 views. Those videos are like really good. I don't know why, because all my other videos get like 100,000 or like I get a lot of views on some of these videos. Some videos do better than others, right? But Sri Lanka was like, I would say the ones that underperformed on my channel, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Maldives, which is weird because it's probably an algorithm thing because the videos are really good. Like the Sri Lanka video is loaded with travel information. Just watch the one things to do in Sri Lanka and you'll build it. You'll feel ready to go to Sri Lanka. I also did things to know about Sri Lanka, 2 videos. But yeah, that was a good trip. I want to go back to Sri Lanka actually. Where should I go for my first international trip? Oh, wow. Great question. Well, answer me this. Where are you thinking about going? Because there's like a lot of countries. I think there's like 190 countries or something. I don't even know how many countries there are. It should be something that I know, but let me see. How many countries are there? Uh, how many for your first trip? Europe's a pretty easy one to kind of knock the rust off. 193 UN reserved countries. So 195 if you include Vatican and Palestine. So yeah, 195. Some territories like Taiwan, Kosovo, and Western Sahara are recognized by some countries, but not universally. So there's like a little bit of like that going on, like which ones are territories and which ones are real, whatever. Um, Someone says, "What countries would you prefer to stay more than 3 months if you had to?" Okay, more than 3 months. Probably Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, UAE, Switzerland if you got the money, Spain, Costa Rica. I would say I could do 3 months or more in Dominican Republic. Panama, I could do 3 months or more. I could probably do Ecuador 3 months or more. Peru, I could do 3 months or more. Those are the ones that come to mind. Thailand or Germany or Costa Rica? Oh, okay. Well, any of those. The only one on there that I wouldn't be in a hurry to go to would be Germany. And nothing against Germany really, but I've been to Germany like 2 or 3 times and never once did it like make me want to stay. I'm not like, wow. And it's funny because maybe one day I'll love Germany, but as of right now, I've been to Frankfurt, Berlin, Cologne, Munich. Every one of them, I only wanted to stay for 24 hours and go. I just couldn't. I couldn't relate to the cities. I couldn't relate to the anything. I couldn't like. I didn't feel like it was. I don't know. I don't know. Someone says it sounds like your preference is tropical places. You're right. You're right. I went to Iceland and I was like, it's cool. I went to Alaska's cool. Uh, I was telling someone the most beautiful national park I've been to is in Banff in the Canadian Rockies. It's a beautiful national park area there. Someone says Munich is on my list. I'm thinking 3 days, then drive to Vienna for a few days. Enjoy it. Good luck. I wouldn't do. I mean, I've been to Vienna. Vienna's better than Munich and Berlin and everything, but over there, Switzerland. I would just hyper focus on Switzerland. I wouldn't even mess around with Germany and Vienna and Munich and all that. That's me though. Someone says, if you could eat only three food from three countries for the rest of the life, which ones would you choose? Okay, that's a good question. Korean barbecue, carne asada tacos, and wonton noodle soup. So Mexican, Korean, and Chinese. I haven't had a burger in like almost 2 months, but when I need to like you know comfort food for me is a burger and fries. I'm not gonna lie about that. Someone says Berlin is not on the list, but yeah, Switzerland is an expensive country to travel. It is, but my goodness, Switzerland. I mean, the only time I spend money in Switzerland is on the train, on the hotel, and food. Everything else. So it's like you're not going to be like lured in to buy like like a Swiss watch or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, those are the only three in beer, I guess. What countries has the best exotic fruit? Philippines. Philippines. My favorite fruits in Philippines, like a rambutan, a lanzones, mangosteen. They have the best dang mangoes around this area around like Negros Island or like Iloilo, Bacolod. They have some real sweet mangoes. Like that stuff is better than any candy ever. But it's yeah, I mean, like some countries I'll go to, I never eat fruit, but Philippines got some good fruit. Philippines for sure. Thailand has some good fruit too. The most beautiful women, um, most beautiful women. Oh wow, they're everywhere. Beautiful women can be found everywhere, but I guess if you're asking pound for pound, most beautiful women in terms of like you know per capita, China. I think Chinese women. The women that I've seen from China, they're very healthy looking, very fit. Um, yeah, China. I never would have thought that either. So yeah, China. Someone says most beautiful women equals Latinas. Yeah, there's some beautiful women in Latin America, like around Colombia and Peru. I would say best place for a spa vacation. Oh, dude, Japan probably Japan or Finland or Norway. I was actually even getting to the point where I was thinking about building like I've been to so many spas. A spa vacation, maybe Budapest, Hungary. They love their bathhouses. But I was going to onsen like every day in Bangkok. They got so many onsens because there's like Japanese town. I always stay in the Japanese area of Bangkok because I love the food. I love getting ramen. The thing that I love about Japanese restaurants is right when you sit down, they're instantly serving you food. Right away, you're getting kimchi. Right away, you're getting a miso soup, and then right after that, you're getting like the Korean barbecue or the ramen, whatever you're ordering. Some restaurants, you got to sit down and wait 10 to 15 minutes for them to prepare it. And I just find it so boring to sit there for 10 to 15 minutes. And I usually go out for meals without my phone because it's like my phone detox time or my screen detox time. So like if I'm sitting there for 10, 15 minutes at a seat in a restaurant waiting for food, I'm just like, oh man, I want them to serve me up pretty quickly. That's why I also like buffets. But yeah, the onsen in Bangkok, they had a couple of them, really nice onsens, and I like onsen because the way you're supposed to do an onsen is, you shower, clean yourself because that's out of respect for other people, and then you go into the sauna, and then you're in the sauna for 10 to 15 minutes. You sweat, take another shower, real good because you get all that sweat off you. Then you get into the actual hot tubs. They got like a bath salts. They got like three different types of uh, jacuzzis, and then they got the cold plunge. So the way you're supposed so when you sweat, your pores open up, you're detoxing. And then to close your pores, you get into the cold plunge afterwards. I can only do like 30 seconds to a minute. And sometimes I can't even go all the way in. It kind of shocks your body a little bit, but it closes the pores. Um, Someone says countries you experience the worst air quality or population or pollution. You said population, but what do you mean? I think you mean pollution. Worst air quality that I've ever seen. Everyone wants me to say Bangkok, but no. Um, Worst air quality. I would say air quality is bad when you feel it in your eyes and not just in your lungs. Worst air quality. Hmm. I'm leaning towards some place in India, like Delhi or maybe Colombo, Sri Lanka. I felt like the air was not very good, but that was probably I don't know if it was pollution, but it was like maybe humidity. Um, Big Island of Hawaii, when the volcano is going off, is not good air quality. Anytime there's a volcano going off, you get this stuff called fog. So he's, have you ever eaten durian? Yeah, I have. It's good. Everyone says it smells bad, but I've never actually smelt the rankness of it. So maybe that's why I still like it. Someone says, "Been in AZ all my life, want to do what you're doing." Dude, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. Every one of you guys who wants to travel, every one of you guys and gals who wants to travel, I promise you, if you really want it, you will get it. I promise you, you will. Seriously, you'll get it if you want it enough. And watching channels like this, watching other YouTubers who tell you how they made it possible. Read my book. I mean, I wrote that book, Diary of a Three-Star Gypsy. The reason I wrote that book was because I wanted to tell you guys the story of how I got into the situation where I travel full time for 10 years. Like I said, I've been to 90 countries, but how many of those countries, how many times do you think I've been to Singapore? Like 30 times. How many times do you think I've been to, Australia or Canada or Europe, or like I've been to Europe like 3 or 4 times, and, uh, been to China 3 times. I've been to Japan 3 times. I've been to Thailand like 20 plus times. I've been to Philippines like 10 times. I've been to, Dubai like 4 times. Uh, you know, so yeah, I been to Malaysia like 10 times. So I mean, I travel a lot. Been to Hong Kong like 10 times. Someone says, which countries do you prefer to stay more than 3 months if you had to? My question got missed earlier. Yeah, so I thought I answered that, but I'll answer it again. Thanks to everyone who's smashing up the likes. We got 65 likes. I'll keep going if you guys smash up the likes. Which countries do you prefer? Okay, so I think I answered this, but I'll say it again. So it was Costa Rica, Thailand, and let me see if a new one comes to mind. I'm trying to see if I can get like a because I gotta go through the memory bank here, but Thailand and Costa Rica for sure. Um, oh, probably Philippines. Anonymous says the travel bug has bitten you. You were in states for like 2 weeks this last time. Yeah, 2 weeks. I was even going to travel across the U.S. and go back to back to like San Antonio, and I went to San Diego, but it was just so expensive. It was so expensive, and it was boring. I was just like uninspired by it. Uh, You've been so inspiring to me. I've watched your videos for the last few years, so thank you. Uh, I'm planning on traveling for sure. Nice. Mark Graves says Sri Lanka. I don't think I said Sri Lanka is a place that I would live. Uh, I probably Sri Lanka. I'd go for 2 weeks. um, what are some of the travel channels that you follow? Agree with your take on Germany. Yeah. So I follow Gabriel Traveler. He's this dude who travels. He loves Greece. I like the Greek islands too. Like whenever I was like back home, I'd watch Gabriel. He's like just a raw and real traveler. Like he doesn't edit his videos. I like to make videos where you don't edit, but no one ever watches those. They like to watch the videos that are like high production quality. But I mean, if you guys watch my other channel, Island Hopper TV Travel Highlights, it's only got like 8,000 subscribers, like 2 or 3 years old. But those are like the ones that I do like raw and real, where I'll be like in like, I don't know, uh, Kokradon, and I'll like be like, here's Kokradon Island. Let me show you Kokradon Island. It's an awesome island. Or Kopanyam, not Kopanyam, but Kopayam. That's a cool island. I did like a whole vlog on that, and like maybe got like 1,000 views. People just, they like to get the entertainment value out of it. I guess they need the music and they need all that, but or the algorithm requires it. I don't know if people, the way the algorithm says is like just make really good videos and it'll get views. Anyway, but yeah, even Gabriel Traveler, like he makes cool videos that are like really good for travelers, but they don't give him a lot of reach. But I like his views. Uh, I like Kurt Kaz. You guys ever watch Kurt Kaz? Sometimes I'll watch his videos. Sabbatical, Tommy from Sabbatical, he makes some cool videos. Like I watched his whole Africa series. Like when I wanted to go to Africa, I was watching all of his Africa videos. That guy loves Africa. He hasn't been back though. He like keeps going to North Korea. I don't know what his obsession is there. Then there was this other guy, I think is like small brained American or something like that. He's crazy, dude. Like I watched some of his older videos. Like he went to Myanmar and like rode around like eating betel nut on a motorbike with like two Burmese people. I was just like, that's a wild video. Um, yeah, Gabriel is cool. Um, JFB says, we love videos that are not really edited. You should make more of those. Well, if you like those, then go to Island Hopper TV Travel Highlights. That's our other channel. That's the behind, I call it the behind the scenes. So, like, recently I went to Kanchanaburi in, Thailand. I actually have a whole video that I haven't even edited. I probably need to edit that one for Kanchanaburi. I did just the nightlife, but, yeah, you can find that channel on our homepage, all of our subsidiary channels. I got the Island Hopper Hotels, Island Hopper Travel Highlights, and then the, Island Hopper Food, but I haven't really posted much food videos on there. I can't I can only manage so many channels anyway. Um, someone says, "If you could choose any home base, what would your ideal be, or are you still living in Arizona?" So, yeah, my home base is Arizona, but my home away from home, right? Well, it seems like it's Singapore, Thailand, Kuala Lumpur as of right now. But again, I travel a lot, so that stuff changes. So it's pretty much just that whole Malaysian Peninsula area, Bangkok, KL, Singapore, and I just kind of rotate in between there. Philippines, the only thing that ever holds me back from Philippines is just the airports. I just don't know if I have the patience for those airports. um, but they're building a brand new one, so that should be fun to see how they if they get that right. I do have a visa that I just got approved to go to Vietnam for 90 days. But again, their airport at Ho Chi Minh City is awful. I don't wanna I the idea of, like, standing in line for 2 hours to get into Vietnam, I just I just have a hard time accepting that. Um, I was thinking maybe go down to Indonesia again. I don't really have any problems with Indonesia airports or anything. They have good transportation. Bali is a little bit too busy, though. So, yeah. Someone says, "Economic News Insights." What are you asking about that? Oh, what's my business channel? Yeah, my business channel is Economic News Insights. I pinned that to the top of this chat. If you go up there, follow my news channel, so you guys can follow that. But yeah, I'd like to be doing more live streams talking about economics and finances and ideas of how to get more money and ideas of how to like stimulate your bank account. That's what I want to do is like, I'm an economics person. I'm a traveler, but I'm also an economics person. I'm also a history buff. I could teach all three of those in college. I could teach travel, that's not a class, but social studies. I could teach history, which is kind of like social studies. I could also teach political science, maybe. And then I could teach economics. I could teach economics. I always ask people on my Facebook. There was like this one meme. It's like, hey, you've known me for a while. If you could give me one recommendation for a job, what would you say? And everyone was like, you'd be my financial advisor. And so I was like, really? I was like, you guys look at me like that much confidence in my financial advice. I guess I'm not, but dude, finance, you could be. It's not necessarily. I'm not looking to really give financial advice as much as I'm looking to give people the tools to be financially empowered. That's what I'm looking to do. Um, Byron says Da Nang, Vietnam is a great travel destination. Sure, you can have it. I was my buddy's in Da Nang, and I made a video about Da Nang. It's gotten like 400,000 views. It's a pretty popular video, but I got to be honest with you, I'm not in a hurry to go back there. Like, there's nothing about Da Nang that's like calling me back. Like the beaches are middle of the row, mid. I don't usually use that word, but I did there. Yeah, they're mediocre. Nightlife is decent. Transportation getting around is okay. I mean, I guess I'd go there to go to Hue or whatever, HUE. I'd go to Hoi An maybe again. That's kind of a cool place. I would take Hoi An over Da Nang, but Da Nang has some decent hotels. I stayed in some really nice hotels. I stayed at the Sheraton Four Points. That's a cool hotel. And I stayed at the Hilton, and it was great prices. I think I stayed at the Sheraton as well. But if I go to Da Nang, what am I going to do there? I mean, I've already been to every place. So there's nothing like the lifestyle there just doesn't really appeal to me. Although I did go to an onsen that was kind of cool. Maybe I just need to go back there. I think it was raining a lot when I was there. I actually like Ho Chi Minh City the best. Ho Chi Minh City is I stayed in Ho Chi Minh for like 10 days. I'd probably go back to Ho Chi Minh. What country would I never go back to? Oh my gosh, never go back to? I gotta be honest with you, if I'd be lying if I said anyone because I'd probably go back to them all. I'd probably go back to them all. I kinda said Egypt, but lately one of my friends went to Egypt to Hurghada, and I was just like, "Oh, man," it made me r miss Sharm el-Sheikh, and I was like, "Yeah, maybe I'd go back to Egypt." So, I was like, I shouldn't even have said that Egypt, but, uh yeah, I mean, even if I think of, like, the places that were not good when I went there, like Lebanon, I went to Beirut, their whole economy had just collapsed. I mean, you can't even exchange currency, the air conditionings don't work, everything's closed, like, the power's out, they have power outages, um, where's the worst place I've ever been? I mean, I could go the rest of my life without going back to Germany, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, we were kinda no, I would probably wanna go back to Germany, right? Like, I'll probably go back to Germany soon anyway, but, Germany's a big country in Europe. Uh, Worst place? I don't know, man. I don't have one. I don't have one. I don't have one. Trying to think of one. I don't have one. Carmel says, "Smash up the likes." Thank you. Have you ever been to Bora Bora? No, I never have, and they call it Bora Boring, and I went to Maldives solo, and I just was like, "That's probably how I'll feel when I get to Bora Bora." Now, if Bora Bora was not as expensive, like $1,000 a night, I think hotels in Bora Bora are like $1,000 a night. So, it's hard to get to. I'm not if I have a fiance or a girlfriend, I'm going to Bora Bora for sure. But solo, no, I'm not gonna go to Bora Bora. I'm being Bora boring. Maybe I would go for maybe I would go for what would I go to Bora Bora for? A video, just to make the video. JFB says, Indonesia versus Philippines. Oh man, smash up the likes. Yeah, that's anonymous. Says like the stream, likes are free. Everyone's saying smash up the likes. Thank you. Um, Indonesia versus Philippines. Well, there's 13,000 islands in Indonesia. Uh, Philippines has 7,500. Philippines speaks a lot of English. Indonesia does not speak a lot of English. Indonesia has better transportation options as far as like modernity goes than Manila. Both cities, mega cities like Manila and Jakarta, are both traffic jam nightmares. Um, as far as cheap goes, I would say Indonesia is a bit cheaper. I would say Bali is probably a better island pound for pound than most places in Philippines, but I do like Surigao. I do like Panglao. I do like Palawan. Food wise, I would say Indonesia has better food than Philippines. Um, yeah, that's about it. I mean, is like there goes the comparison. So probably Philippines. Someone says, "What country has changed the most since your first time visiting?" Probably Thailand. I mean, it's changed a lot. Thailand's changed a lot. Like, it's gotten more modern for sure. Like, the first time I went to Bangkok, it was good, but it's gotten a lot better. Thailand's changed a lot. I remember there was some scams back when I first went to Thailand that have gone away. Um, Another one that's changed a lot since I started going traveling, Dubai. First time I ever went to Dubai was in 2006, and Dubai has continued to get a lot better. What about St. Lucia? I mean, I rented a car and I went all around St. Lucia in a rental car. Every time I go to a Caribbean island, you gotta have a rental car, except for maybe on Dominican Republic. But everywhere else, you gotta have a rental car in those Caribbean islands. St. Lucia's got beautiful pitons, those pitons, like the peaks. They're like these cinder cone volcanic peaks. You can hike up there and get a great view. That's definitely a nice thing. Then they have a decent beach there. It's cool. I'm not in a hurry to go back to St. Lucia. It's a honeymoon island. Um, Someone says, "What's the clearest, calmest, most turquoise water in the world that I've ever seen?" Well, that clear water that I've seen it in the Med in places like Formentura nearby Ibiza at Playa Liste. I've seen it at Isla Salwana in Dominican Republic. I've seen it at St. John and St. Thomas, but St. John on the USVI. I've seen it in the British Virgin Islands. I've seen it in Anguilla. Caribbean has a lot of beautiful water, but not every island in the Caribbean has it. Like St. Kitts doesn't have it. Like maybe a little bit in St. Kitts. St. Kitts is more for like chilling on the island, St. Kitts and Nevis. But I would say I would say the Virgin Islands, USVI and BVI have some really good spots. Uh, Thailand, the Maldives of Thailand, like South Thailand, beyond Phuket, beyond Krabi. I'm talking South Thailand, places you guys haven't heard about, places you need to watch Island Hopper TV travel highlights to know about. Um, but yeah, those places. Someone says, someone says, what? How expensive is Dubai? It's getting more and more expensive, actually. Do you ever bother learning local language or do you try to get by with English and body language like pointing at menus? Well, I mean, 90 countries, there's so many different languages. Like the hardest one is French, but in Thai, I know like I'm starting to pick up more words for like Thai, like, like sabai sabai is chill, sawadi kap kun kap, neat noi, um, chai, my chai, like you pick up words and then, you kind of put it together. uh, like Chinese is Mandarins. I'm learning like ni hao ma, like uh, what other language? Spanish. Like when you go to South America or Central America or Mexico, I just kind of click into Spanish pretty fast. So I would say Thai, Spanish, and English. But yeah, I mean, I speak like Tinglish. I speak like Spanish English. Um, yeah, I'm not good at learning languages. That's not my strength. I've never really been good at that. But yeah, I mean, if you can, if you have the kind of mind, some people can like do it. Some people can, it's not easy for everybody. Have you ever thought about raffling off some tickets and hotels to viewers to win? Might be interesting and help support your own travelers. Have you ever thought about raffling off some tickets and hotels to viewers to win? I haven't. I I mean, what would I do? Like you mean like a gift certificate or something? Someone says, I love watching your content. For me, you are leading with the travel highlights. Such an inspiration. Thank you. Um, Best Asian country for abundance of beef? Japan and Korea. Japan has Kobe beef. They also have Wagyu. I mean, Japan for sure. Like Japan, not even really questionable in my mind. What country is the safest travel for women? Michelle asked the question earlier. Good question. Well, from my experience, I see, well, where I've seen a lot of women like just walking around at night in the dark, I saw it a lot in Costa Rica, which told me that it's safe. They felt safe. I've seen women uh, hi- like I picked up this girl. She was hitchhiking. She was from Belgium. I was like, "Oh my gosh, why are you hitchhiking?" And she's like, "I do it all the time." So I picked her up and like I think she was with like a couple friends, dropped them off, and then So she's like, "Yeah, Costa Rica's safe." So that gave me an impression that Costa Rica was safe for women. Uh, so Costa Rica, I felt like Thailand's safe for women. Like I hung out with some like a lot of women actually in the south of Thailand. Like there was three different solo travelers and me, and we were all kind of like hanging out for like 3 or 4 days, and everyone was just chilling. We all stayed in different accommodations, but uh, we met on the ferry boat going from Koh Lanta to Kokradon. One was from the UK, one was from Germany, and one was from Australia. They were all in their like mid 20s. Um, and also, I was talking to like some older ladies that were in like maybe their 40s or 50s or 60s, maybe. They were also in that part of the islands in the south of Thailand. So it seemed like Thailand was safe. Seems like also Dubai. Seems like there's a lot of ladies in Dubai that feel safe. I've been seeing that also in Japan, Korea, Taiwan. I've even seen it in Vietnam. So there's a lot of countries for women, but I'm not a woman, so I mean, asking me what women feel, I don't know if that, I'm just saying based on what I've observed. Someone said, once you get past Phuket, you start getting the Malaysian blood mixed in with the Thai blood. It has a little different look. Well, yeah, those are, yeah, it's a lot more Muslim down there too. Um, so it is a different look. I think that's called Malay, right? Kimmy says things to do in Dubai. Things to do in Dubai. Well, I like to chill out around Dubai Marina. Business Bay is up and coming. I can't wait for Business Bay to be done. It depends on the time of year too, because Dubai has some seasonal stuff. Like in the summertime, some stuff closes. But you can always go to Dubai Mall. You can always go out to Palm Jumeirah. You can always go out. Take the monorail out to Palm Jumeirah, out to the Atlantis. That's kind of cool, just to do it. Ride the. There's like 3 stops out there. The Nikhil Mall, and then the JB, Jumeirah Beach, JBR, Jumeirah Beach Residences, as they call it, JB. That's around Dubai Marina. It's not Dubai Marina, but it's Dubai, JBR. And then if I was to recommend living anywhere in Dubai, if you wanted to save money, you could stay at the Jumeirah Lakes, which is just on the other side of Sheikh Zayed Road. Uh, it's a little bit cheaper than Dubai Marina, so that's good. Do you purchase a small trinket from each place that you visit as a memento? No. So when I first started traveling, yes, I would go to the floating markets in Thailand. I would go to like the markets and buy things for my house. But if you just tuned into the chat, I actually sold all my stuff and gave it all away. And right now I travel around with just a suitcase, a backpack, and I always pick up one of these bags from the grocery store when I pick up some lemons and honey because I like to drink tea. So I get these kind of teas and I just kind of put those all in my bag because they won't fit in my backpack. Like, and I'll have like other things in there. Like I have some blueberries, any other sort of like snacks. Like I had something removed off my little lip here. It was like a calcium thing, like not a mole, but like a calcium deposit. And I went to the place in Thailand. She did it for like $35 and just removed it, but she told me to use this like medicine. So I'll put that in the little bag. Like maybe my headset, but yeah. So picking up trinkets, the only trinkets I'll ever pick up usually would be like shirts. I go to tailors. I go to like shirt tailors. Like I got this as a custom tailored shirt. Those are like 1,000 baht. I get those in Thailand. I would say our things to do in Bangkok video is going to be one of the best expert local advices that I've got. Right. So like when I give advice on Bangkok, it's pretty good advice. When I give advice on Kuala Lumpur, it's pretty good advice. When I give advice on Singapore, like those are cities that I spent a lot of time in. Um, But yeah, trinkets. I'll like when I get to Phuket, I'll get like they'll sell me like those little $5 sunglasses. I'll get those, and then I'll get like I'll hit the tailor up. I'll hit up the tailor. I'll get some like some shirts like Phuket jersey or something like that. That's fun. Do you have a favorite burger joint in San Diego? I'm going there in a couple weeks. In San Diego, anywhere around PB should be all right. There should be a couple burger joints in PB. Little Italy, no, not Little Italy, but around like maybe the Gas Lamp. I had a pretty good burger there at the pier side nearby the area where the cruise ship terminal is. But San Diego's got a lot of local breweries. I should have mentioned that in the video, like craft breweries in San Diego, really good ones. It's known for local craft beer. So, I mean, any sort of local craft beer house, I mean, they got a lot in PB. So PB, get down there. Pacific Beach is what I'm talking about. The areas and towns west of San Jose, Costa Rica, has tons of Americans. The weather is great there, not too hot. Yeah, I mean, the area in you're talking like Jaco, I'd imagine, but you could go down to Manuel Antonio. Um, I would say south of Manuel Antonio is better, like Dominical, Uvita. Like Uvita is so chill. I glamped in Uvita 2 nights. It was like so relaxing. There's lots of waterfalls down there. The beach is great. Uvita. But I got to be honest with you, my favorite place in all of Costa Rica is the Nicoya Peninsula. It's one of the 5 blue zones in the world. I could see why it's still pretty chilled out. I got one of those like Razor side by sides. I rented that the whole time I was down there and stayed for like I don't know, like a few days, 5 days. They got like 3 different types of monkeys down there that you got, parrots, macaws, all that. Surfing is crazy down there, Nicoya. Sunsets are great. The vibe is very like bohemian, gypsy kind of vibe. Uh, but yeah, I mean, Nicoya, I actually took my rental car down from Tamarindo. Tamarindo, as you know, is Tamagringo because there's so many gringos living in Tamarindo. But Tamarindo is just north of the Nicoya. And like north of Tamarindo, you've got Playa Flamingo, you've got, Papagayo, all the places all the gringos get all excited about. But for me, I took the car south from Tamarindo. Not I didn't go in through because the main road, the paved road, is the one that you take through Nicoya. That's the one we did the first time. But the second time I went, I had to do 4 river crossings. I had to cross the river 4 different times. So you have to get out of the car, talk to the locals, and be like, "Hey, where's the route?" He'll be like this. He'll be like, you got to go like this, and then you got to go like that, and cross the river. It's the rental car. Shh, don't tell anybody. But no, I was like, dude, when you hit the river, you gotta floor it real hard. You gotta go for it. Also, it wasn't rainy season, thankfully. It was dry season. I wouldn't go that road, but there's a cool place in between there called Playas Coyotes. Man, they were doing like a caballero festival or something where they all brought out their horses and they all riding into the beach, camping and chilling right there. Costa Rica is so good, man. So good. What are my thoughts on Portugal? Well, Porto is beautiful. Porto is beautiful. Lisbon's all right. Algarve is cool, but you know, it's it's like the it's like the escape for a lot of Germans. They go there actually, and I have nothing against Germans. I'm not saying anything against Germans. I'm just saying like the country Germany is not my favorite, but Germans go to Portugal quite consistently because it's so cold there and it's a nice little escape. And there, Germans are really smart, sophisticated people, chilled out. But um, have you ever had any close calls or sketchy situations you had to avoid while traveling? If so, where? Yeah, I have a whole list. I have a whole list of stories. I mean, I think I almost made a video about like shady, crazy stories. So this is my crazy stories list. Dangerous boat ride across Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, crossing a mountain in a rental car in Costa Rica in a 4x4 during a torrential rain. It was crazy. We should have never done that drive. Should have never done that drive. The girl that we were with, she wanted to do it, and she didn't even know how to drive her car. It was a 4 by 4. We almost, like, literally, like, that was a bad decision. She was the one who told us to do it. She was from France, and she was traveling solo, and she met up with me and my friend, and we had to, like, I had to drive her car because she didn't know how to drive in the mud, up the hills, up in the mountains in a 4 by, and not on a 4 by 4, a 4 cylinder. Shanghai, I had a crazy story in Shanghai, like an abduction. Like, I got abducted by a taxi driver because some of these local girls, uh, they were like one of those girls that they try to sell you tea. They try to get you to go to a bar, and you so they came up to me when I was on the bund. I was actually getting sick. I don't know what was going on, and they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, you look like a movie star. Like, you remind me of Brad Pitt. You're an American, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, so they were like wowing me, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't really want to go out, but they were like, let's go get some drinks. And so there was like two girls, and I was like, well, I'm in China, I should make friends, you know. So there, but they were like, let's go to the bar, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, the first bar they take me to, I'm going to say no because maybe they're working for that bar. Well, we went to that bar, they went, and I said, nah, let's go to another one. And they were like, okay, cool. And I was like, wow, okay, maybe they're not working for a bar. Maybe they just think I'm cool and they want to hang out with American. Well, we go to this next bar, and she just starts ordering Jack Daniels left and right, like just like crazy amounts of shots of Jack Daniels, and it's not even really good Jack Daniels. Like I said, I was getting like a sore throat. I didn't even really want to drink, and she just kept ordering all these drinks, and then she goes, and then the guy comes over with the bill. It's a $700 bill, and we were only there for 45 minutes. And I'm like, I'm not paying that. I'm like, I'm not paying that. And I'm like, what? We ordered like 20 shots. I was like, why did we even order 20 shots? So I'm like asking her, like, why did you order like 20 different shots? Like, are you trying to get drunk like that quick? Like, this is a crazy way to get drunk at 30 minutes. And then the guy's like, yeah, well, because of the tariffs, Jack Daniels is an American made whiskey. So it's like 100, it's like marked up double price. So like, it's like $30 a shot. And I was like, no, no, that's not cool. I was like, that's not cool. I'm not paying that. And then so we had to like settle on that. And I told her, I was like, why did you do that? I was like, that was crazy. Like, that was the most ridiculous way to get drunk. And I didn't even feel like I got drunk. I felt like they like watered down the alcohol. And then like we were hanging out, and then she like, I was like kind of upset with her. I was like, that's a weird way to, party, but I was like, whatever. So we went over to get a I actually did a whole live stream on this when I got back from that. That was back in 2018 when I got to San Francisco. But she like told me to buy her a pair of Nikes, and she's like, "Oh, Chinese men would buy this for me." And I'm like, "Okay, good. Get a Chinese guy." Like, I mean, I'm not going to buy you like a $300 pair of Nikes because Nikes over there are like tariff. So they're like, it's like a up price, right? And so I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, this is crazy. And then and then when I went to get a taxi, I was like, hey, can you help me get a taxi? Because I want to go back to my hotel. She like tells the taxi cab driver something, and he like starts yelling at me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what is going on here? And Google Translate didn't really work at the time because I was in China. They have like a firewall. Some way, somehow, I got the offline version to work. And I'm like, those girls are mad at me because I didn't buy them Nikes. And he was like still yelling at me. He was like trying to get me to drop off. I have no idea what she told them. It was all in Mandarin. And then I was like, he finally let me out of the taxi, and I was like, wow, man, you guys are crazy. I was like, this is crazy. And so, I just like walked back like 3 or 4 miles back to my hotel at like 9 o'clock at night, probably arrived like 10 or like 11 or 12. And this was in Shanghai. And I was just like the whole way home, I was like, "Whoa!" When I get back there to get to Wi-Fi, I'm going on kayak, and I'm going to book a flight out of here because I'm feeling sick, and I'm not really feeling so hot about Shanghai right now. So that was a crazy story. But then, like that same trip, I had like a Macau, China. I got scammed on a cell phone. They were trying to sell me a cell phone. I didn't want it. The guy like sat next to me on the bus, and he kept trying to sell me a cell phone. I already had a cell phone, and he was just like very persistent, and he kept showing me the cell phone, and then he put it in his pocket, and he's like, okay, and he kept going lower in price, and I was like, all right, man, whatever, okay, that's a good deal. I was like, I'm sure that I'll know somebody who wants a iPhone, whatever. But I was like, I really don't want this iPhone. And he just kept going lower and lower. And I was like, "How did you get it?" I was like, "I don't want a stolen phone." And he was like, "No, no, they manufacture it cheap here in China. That's why." I was like, "All right." I mean, this story sounded reasonable, but anyway, so he sells me this phone. Well, the phone that he had in his pocket, he the one that he kept showing me, he put in his pocket, but then he pulled out a dummy phone and it was turned off. And I gave him the money and just so he'd like kind of go away. And I was like, ah, well, I got a cheap phone in China, right? It's a cheap iPhone. I mean, I don't know like what's going on. I just needed to make sure it wasn't a stolen phone. That was like the most important thing to me. And so as I'm like on the boat going back to China or Hong Kong, I'm like trying to turn on the phone. I'm like, this freaking thing ain't turning on. I'm like, so I plug it in, I try and charge it, and I'm like, this thing's not turning on. I'm like, dude, he sold me a weighted phone. It's a fake phone. So that happened on that trip. Uh, then there was like a sketchy driver situation that I had going from Jordan in Aqaba to Eilat in Israel. We did a land border crossing, and looking back on it, it was really stupid that we were like in Jordan talking about going to Israel. This was back in 2022 because I noticed that like for some reason I was like none of these drivers wanted to drive us to the border, and this guy was like we like the one guy canceled on us, and then we get dropped off in the morning. We were in Wadi Rum, trying to go to Eilat, Israel, so we could take the bus to Jerusalem. And this guy, he like is an old guy. He like picks us up and he does like this, like he does the Muslim prayer thing. And I was like, why is he praying before he's taking us? I was like, is something going on here? I was like, it was like something I'd seen in a movie. I was like, why is he like doing that? And like the whole way, that wasn't even the craziest part. He had like this blood pressure monitor on his finger, and ever so often it would like uh beep. And I was like, why is it beeping? Like, what is going on here? Like, is this guy going to be safe to get us there? Is like, I was like, and we were in the car with him for like an hour. Sure enough, he got us to the border safely and he was nice and we paid him and everything. And I was just like, oh, that was like an hour of just like, are we going to make it to the border? Because there's like a tension between them. But I had a good time in Jordan. Is just that drive was, I remember that was like nerve wracking for like an hour. And then there was, we almost got stuck in Colombia. Like they wouldn't let us leave in Cartagena. Uh, Back in 2007, no, 2017. Yeah, I got like drugged and robbed in Phuket. That was not good. Um, that's a whole story all in of itself. And then there's a lot of stories. I mean, I could make a whole video about that. Someone says, "Do you carry anything for self protection?" No, I never do. No, 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 because number one, in most countries, if you're a foreigner and you use any sort of weapon, it's their word against yours. So no, I don't. So I just basically travel on faith. Like e- I, I mean, aside from like any sort of self defense, like maybe like survival self defense with my hands, that'd be it. um, if you go to Colombia, it's best to go with a group of people. Yeah, I think so. Is Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador safe for solo travelers? Should I avoid the dating apps there? I mean, I don't really have too much information for you about Colombia. I mean, I've spent, I would say Ecuador and Peru, you can use the dating apps. I mean, that's not professional advice. I use the dating apps in Peru and Ecuador. I mean, you're going to have, from in my situation, I went on way more dates in Lima than I did in Ecuador. So, I mean, Lima, I mean, you're going to have more connections in Lima. Lima's good, but for that, but I mean, in Lima, I wouldn't get too far out of Miraflores or San Isidro or anything like that. I wouldn't go up into the outside of I wouldn't go outside of Miraflores or San Isidro for any date. You got me? uh, Someone said, "What? You need a separate video on your worst travel experiences?" Yeah, because I got a whole list of them. I mean, if you see it, the stories behind each one of those, the time I was in Philippines when they had to shut down the whole airport because Mount Tall erupted. I mean, that was a huge eruption. We didn't know what was going on. The time we went up to the Philippines in Mindanao, where the Abu Sayyaf guys are, the guy took me around to like Mount Apu, and he's like, "Yeah, there's Abu Sayyaf out here in the forest." And I'm like, "Well, why are we up here?" And then he takes me to the other island where those guys got abducted. You know, those sailors from Norway and Sweden, they got beheaded. Like the whole Abu Sayyaf, they like filmed the whole thing. And I was when I was in Philippines, I like went online and I was like, okay, abduction, and I pulled up the article. It was like that was back when Live Leak was still around, so I pulled it up and I was like, dude, that happened here. That happened here. I'm like, why'd you take me here? Like, why did you take me to that place? And like, we get off the boat, and he's like, yeah, that's where the abduction happened. And I'm like, oh, dude, what? I'm like, that was so I don't know, but we got stuck up there at one of the is a beautiful, like, high altitude, like, mountain. I think it's, like, the 2nd tallest mountain in Philippines or, like, the tallest mountain in Philippines, and we got stuck up there. And he's like, "Yeah, there's Abu Sayyaf up here." So, I don't know. That was, like, in 2018, maybe. Uh, but, yeah, I mean, there was another time we were, like, driving down the freeway in Mexico, and the guy's car broke down on the freeway, and it was on the freeway where there's chain link fence on both sides of the road, like for eternity. So it's like if we were gonna have to get out of his car and like walk with our suitcases, we were gonna be on the side of a freeway in like Mexico. His battery just like died, and he sat there for like 20 minutes trying to jumpstart it. Thankfully, they had Uber, and we were like in Guanajuato, nearby Guanajuato. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just I got tons of stories like that. Just I mean, you travel enough, you're gonna have stuff like that. I mean, I got pickpocketed in Vietnam. That was another. So I've had 2 cell phones stolen from me. That's having a cell phone. I have 2 cell phones. I actually have 3 cell phones now, but back in the day, I used to just carry 1 cell phone. So I mean, if you lose 1 cell phone, you're out of luck. Actually, it's funny because the cell phone they took that time was a backup cell phone, I think. Yeah, I think it was a backup cell phone in Vietnam. So I was smart enough to take my backup cell phone that time. But I mean, so many crazy stories. I got too many crazy stories. Been traveling full time for 10 years. So of course I got some. Um, someone says, salute to your channel, been a subscriber since day one. You should save a lot of hair raising stories for the book. Jordan and Colombia alone are chapter and damn good Island Hopper TV book. Oh, did you read the book? Did you get the book that I wrote, the 3-star Gypsy? Yeah, if you guys want to read those, if you want to hear the stories about those crazy things, that's a good point. Check out the book, Diary of a 3-Star Gypsy, that I wrote. Oh well, nowadays I like. Oh well, the most crazy thing that I had happen was that story I was telling you guys about the typhoon going from Malapascua Island to Cebu. That was like the most recent hair raiser. Like this year, that's the only thing that I think. No, let's see. That was a hair raiser. That was a hair raiser. The Malapascua typhoon. Because I going to Philippines during typhoon season, typhoons just come out of nowhere, and they're like intense wind, rain, like the rain's coming in sideways like that. It's so, and it feels like needles. And you're on the open ocean, and the waves are huge, and you're just in one of those like little Philippines like wooden boats. Oh boy, that's wild. Um, someone said your thoughts on Laos. Laos is chill. I didn't have any crazy stories in Laos. I was only there for like 7 days, so Laos was good. Um, one crazy story that happened in Cambodia. I only went there for 4 days, but I was in Phnom Penh, and I was going around on a tuk tuk with one of the guys that shows you around, and he wanted to show me the American embassy, and they detained me because I took a picture of the American embassy in Cambodia, and they detained me. They were like, Where's your passport? Let's go back to your hotel and get your passport and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, I'm an American. Like, I'm taking a picture of the US Embassy because this guy told me to do it for a tour. He's taking me on a tour and he's telling me to take a picture of the US Embassy, and they detain me. It's crazy. Um, is it on Amazon? Yeah, it's on Kindle. It's on Kindle, but it's called Diary of a Three-Star Gypsy. But you can find it. I'm actually trying to get the uh, was the paperback. Yeah, the paperback. I'm trying to get that published. That's going to sell for $12.99. The ebook is $8.99 because Amazon has to get their cut, which is like I want to say 50%. So they basically tell you like what you should sell it for in order for it to be worth them to put it on the website. I didn't really want to sell it for much, um, but there's like operating costs and all that, I guess, for them. Plus, my side, I mean, it cost me money to hire someone to like format it and stuff because it's not like one of those things you could just like. Because I wrote the book in Word doc, like it took me 2 weeks writing it in Word doc. Most of the book was written in Khao Sok in South Thailand. I remember, yeah, most of that book one night I just like pounded out like so many chapters when I was in Khao Sok. That was good. That was good. I got some real progress there. The very first chapter of that was written on a boat ride going from, I was nearby Myanmar and I was on a boat ride and it was kind of rough seas. And I was like looking at my notes book and I just started writing the first few paragraphs. So I was going out to Koh Yam on a speedboat, and that was nearby Myanmar. Do you ever check the laws in country that you're traveling to avoid imprisonment? Yeah, yeah. That you should be aware of that. Like like for example, in Thailand, you're not supposed to talk about the king or politics. Same with Dubai. Like one time I was talking about like the king and they were like, "No, we don't do that here." So I mean, you got to kind of be aware. But most of the time it's pretty chill. Um, Pretty chill. Miraflores and Barranco and Lima, Peru has some restaurants and nice. Barranco is good. We made a video on Peru. You can watch it. It's called Best Things to Do in Lima, Peru. We also did another video, Things to Know About Visiting Peru. Uh, we also did a Cusco video and a Machu Picchu video. So there was 4 videos that were done about Peru. Try to do the new ones. The first time I went to Peru, that was like old school island hopper, like going to Peru back in like 2018. You probably don't want to watch that because that's old. It's old. Plus, it was like cold when I went there. I went there in the winter, and then I went down to Santiago, Chile. I flew from Lima to Santiago, and it was like so much desert, like unbelievable amounts of desert. And it's kind of like it's like flying over like Area 51 in Nevada. It's very sparsely populated. Did I hike the Inca Trail? Okay, no, that would take a few days. Did I hike around Machu Picchu? Yeah. Did I hike around like Aguas Calientes? A little bit. But did I hike from Cusco to Aguas Calientes? No, I took the train. I took so to hike the Inca Trail is that's a whole experience. Maybe I'll do that one day. But you got to be prepared for altitude sickness because you're high up in the Andes. Plus, you got to make sure you're there at the right time of year. But I just had a driver because I was with my dad. It was his dream to go to Machu Picchu. So we took the taxi from Cusco to Ollantaytambo, and then when we got to Ollantaytambo, we got the train, and the train from Ollantaytambo to Aguas Calientes took like an hour and a half. I think it's called what's the guy's name that supposedly found Machu Picchu? I forgot his name. MI says I did it. It's over 4 days. It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's an experience. But when we were there, we were only there for my dad had a limited amount of time in Peru. Like he was only there for like 4 or 5 days because he had to work and stuff, but he came down for his birthday. And we were actually to Pumapunko because I we were actually gonna try and go to Pumapunko and Lake Titicaca. I know it's a funny name. It's a funny name, but yeah, so we were trying to go over there. Someone said, "Of all the 90 countries you've visited, would you say what would you say were the top 3 most picturesque?" Well, Switzerland. Switzerland for sure. I mean, Switzerland. Some people they say, "Really, Switzerland?" I'm like, "Yeah, really, Switzerland." Like, you didn't know that? I thought it was common knowledge that Switzerland's beautiful. Um, Most picturesque. That's a great question. That's a great question. Picturesque. Thailand's pretty picturesque. I mean, I've seen some really beautiful islands and beaches, like Railay Beach and Krabi's beautiful. Phi Phi Islands are beautiful. Um, Thailand's up there. Thailand is up there. They got like Chiang Mai's got some beautiful places. America, USA. USA is very scenic. I mean, USA, I know that's not what you want to hear, but like, I mean, if I'm talking like USA has Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, Yosemite, um, Olympia, Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Mount Whitney, uh, Grand Canyon, Sedona, Zion National Park, the Rocky Mountains. I mean, don't sleep on the USA. You guys don't have to go very far for that. Big Island has Volcano National Park. Um, so someone says you should make some AI reenactment videos of your calls what with you narrating scenes like classic storytelling, YouTube gold. Dude, that would be good. Yeah, the best I'm trying to think. I think that abduction in Shanghai would be that was just crazy. Like that guy was like he was because what it is in I think what she told them was that I was saying negative things about Chinese government because I had made a comment about the tariffs. I said, "Oh, no wonder." I said, "So you guys put tariffs on American imports." This was back in 2018. And I think that is what she told the driver that I was saying negative things about China because I had made some a little bit risky remarks about the tariffs. This was back in 2018. So I think it's because it's illegal for like you to be a foreigner and say anything about the Chinese government there. I didn't really mean it. Like it was just something. I'm American, so like you just say like, "Oh, tariffs," like it's freely said there. But in China, you got to watch what you say. So I think she told that driver that I was saying something like I because that's the only reason why I could think that the taxi driver would be that angry. And like he was trying to drop me off with like security guards and like police and stuff. It was weird. But I was looking back, like I said, I mean, I was so devastated by it. I like walked all the way back to my apartment or a hotel because I didn't want to deal with any more taxi drivers. And I was like, I didn't even know. Like, I was like, is this guy gonna like try and like report me or something? Like, I had no idea what was going on because I don't speak a lick of Mandarin. Oh man. Someone said best airlines to travel internationally. Oh yeah, good question. I'm always in Asia. I'm always trying to build status with Singapore Airlines. Qatar Airlines is really good. I think Qatar, but Emirates is all right. I haven't had like an exceptional experience with Emirates. Everyone says Emirates. I would say maybe Etihad's better than Emirates. I also like Korean Airlines is really good. All the Asian carriers are really good. Like you're gonna get incredible customer service. Like the second I get to the US and I start flying on Southwest or American Airlines or United, I'm just like, oh no, this is not good. I just got spoiled in Asia. Asia, like the customer service on Asian Airlines is like way up here. American Airlines customer service is like way down here. even like Canadian Air, like everyone's all like Air Canada. Air Canada is like American carriers, but like with all the woke stuff involved, like, and what I mean by that is there was a lady who had gotten air sickness. She was throwing up while we were in flight, but they made it sound like someone had like a severe medical emergency. But like, how many times have you, or how many times has someone you know, like thrown up, barfed in the air? So like, we didn't know. They were like, everyone, please stay on board. We have a medical emergency. So when we landed in Vancouver, we had to stay on the plane, and they like basically like made it sound like someone was like maybe gonna die. So we're like, oh my god, is someone like okay? And then like the staff response in Vancouver was terrible. It took like we were sitting there with the door open, nobody could get off the plane because of the medical emergency, and it took 10 minutes. And like the staff, the medical ambulance, paramedics, whatever in Vancouver had already been informed like before we were landing, right? Like, so they had already said, when we land, we have a medical emergency. Everyone, please stay on board. This was like announced like 20 minutes before we landed. 10 minutes sitting there with the door open, and no one knows what's going on, and everyone's about to miss their flights and everything because the flight was already delayed out of San Diego. And the lady gets in there, they come on there, and then they get the lady. She's wearing her mask, and she walks off under her own power. And everyone's like, what happened? And they're like, she got nauseous during the flight, and we had to play it safe. I'm like, dude, so we did that for nausea. I thought it was like something serious. Anyway, and so there was like two incidents that happened with Air Canada, and I'm like, but they like go overboard with all their policies and procedures. Like, I don't know. You wouldn't see that. I've never seen that anywhere else. But it seemed like Canada's like playing this like overly over thing. Anyway, someone says best airlines to travel internationally. Uh that was the one that you were talking about, right? So the cheapest airline is Viet Air, Vietnam Air. Vietnam Airlines is all just cheap, cheap, cheap. Latin America is very expensive, but in Colombia, it's very cheap. In Colombia, I remember I flew from Bogota to Medellin for like $50, and then I flew from like Medellin to Cartagena for like $50. And I think that was on Avianca. So that was pretty cheap. Copa Airlines is not very cheap. Anyways, smash up the likes if you guys want me to keep going. Oh my gosh, it's 1:29 in the morning here. Anyways, guys, I'm probably going to get going unless we get some more questions or some more likes. But thank you to everyone who just came over and followed Economic News Insights. You can click the link at the top of this chat. That's my new channel, Economic News Insights. And wow, it looks like some people actually ordered the book, Three Star Gypsy. So thank you to everyone who just ordered the book. And yeah, you can get that by clicking the link in the description. That's basically the whole story of how I got to travel. Might write another book another time about something else like economics or finance. See you all on the next one. Thank you to everyone who smashed up the likes.